Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here, and we're reacting to a double L day for the Raptors organization, losing both their G League 905 game and the Knicks game last night. And both games were winnable. Let's just put it that way. They're both kind of fumbles, not really fumbles, but just opportunities were there and things were going well, but they just didn't happen. The teams just didn't have it, and things just happened the way they happened. The Knicks game's frustrating. It is. But I want to start by saying, sometimes a team has a final test. And I'm not saying they're the final test, but they're definitely one of the later tests because it's going to take a certain level of maturity and know how and discipline to beat the Knicks for us. The Knicks Nation's being a poor winner today, acting out, talking out their ass, saying all this and that. There's a lot of cockiness and stupid shit. And well, that energy is going to get you a lot of losing to the Raptors in the future, Knicks Nation. Just so you know, if you're going to come and watch me this morning, just so you know, I'm going to warn you that. So you go ahead and get cocky. You do your little guns, Josh Hart. You get cocky. You're going to get it. Watch over time. Because there's long, vast periods in the history of the Raptors and the Knicks where the Knicks are owned by the Raptors. And we kick your ass for years and beat your butt and sweep you all the time. Just because y'all are up all right now and been beating us and you're getting all cocky doesn't mean the tides won't change once again. And we will be kicking your butt on a regular basis in the near future with Scotty Barnes leading the way. So go ahead, New York. Feel all good about yourself. Some ways we had our stagnation come through and happen once again where the offense just kind of falls out at a certain point. But you know what? The Raptors played and beat the Knicks until about 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, and then everything unraveled after an OG Anunoby steal and dunk to take the lead for the Knicks finally. But we were beating y'all for 3 quarters almost. And then everything was shit for the rest of the game. The last quarter was horrible. And the Raptors lost a game that they let get away, according to Brandon Ingram. That's what he said in the post-game interview afterwards. Is like, we let this one get away from us. The Knicks are a test for us, and the test has not been passed yet. It's too bad because we're going to lose the season series because they've won 3-0 so far this year. I wished we could have won last night and then beat them the last 2 games and won the season series, but it's not going to happen. So we got to wait till we play them again in about a month or so, and we'll test ourselves again. It's playing them as a litmus test, a good chance to see how we progressed and what we're doing. And well, there's still some problems, right? The other thing about last night's game is it was a trap game. I said this in the schedule breakdown at the beginning of the year. This was one of the games I noted once again that this is a problem game because this is the first game back from a West Coast road trip. And not only that, this is the devious thing they do is they make the Raptors get right back on the road after this game to go to Orlando to play there. So it's not even really like you're back home, get settled and feel comfortable. No, you come back, play this game real quick, and then get right back on the road and head back out. One thing that they say in life is, and this happened to me a long time ago, that when you're on your way home, you relax your body and you start to get in relaxation mode. It's actually the most dangerous place to get in an accident when you're driving is close to your house because some people will relax before they get home and then they'll not pay attention and they'll get in a car accident. Yeah, that is kind of a similar thing. It's like you're on the road for 9 days, you play 5 games, and you're ready to get back. You're ready to do laundry. You're ready to kind of just get back to your own living room and your own bed and be able to kind of feel those energies. And it's natural for players to let down their guard and maybe get a little relaxed just because they got home. You know how that feels. You go on a week vacation somewhere and you come back home and you're just like, oh, I'm back. Oh, I'm back. There's a lot of that energy in this game last night. Sure, you couple a 4-game winning streak and beating the champion of Thunder, And there's a lot of like kind of like satiation and kind of like, oh, we're back. We just beat the Thunder. Things are good. But no, you got to play the Knicks, and it's a trap game. And I'm starting to think also, even though it was very successful on this road trip, playing a team that plays on a back to back the second night isn't always an advantage. This was true last year for us. We would play games and we do better on the second night of the back to back than we did on the first night of the back to back. I have a theory that it's because you're kind of in like a mode already of working because you worked yesterday, and you're kind of like, maybe you're a little bit more attention to detail as far as recovery and taking care of your body and kind of bouncing back in a 24-hour period. Instead of having a day off, you get a day off, you can rest, and then you come back fresh. But also, you play a game, you come in and play the second game the second night, maybe you're a little bit more warmed up. It's kind of like the debate about having buys in the playoffs. And if you sit out for too long after your regular season, and then you have to start a game, a series against a team that's been playing already, sometimes they have momentum coming in from the games that they were playing while you were sitting, and you're screwed because you're not ramped up and crazy. I mean, this is a trap game. This is a trap game. The first game back at home after a long West Coast trip is a trap game. You can ask the superfan Monique Lawrence. She knows this. But, these aren't excuses. This is an NBA game. This is still an ability in a possible win to get over the rival Knicks. The sad thing about it is the standings, because now we're tied with Cleveland. We were really in a good spot, and now Knicks are in the second place because the Celtics lost, and they literally jumped up into the second place in the East. And that could have been us if we had taken care of business and won last night. It is what it is. And the other thing about that is, of course, Mark Davis. Mark Davis is a piece of shit. And, you could see his cocky, sorry ass on display last night refereeing the game. And, I mean, the ref manipulation last night wasn't too bad. It's just that they were there to guideline things. They were there to guideline things and kind of direct invisibly kind of the results of the game to the right outcome that Adam Silver wanted. And Mark Davis is kind of like a railing on the side of the highway to keep it on the right destination to get to the right result that they want. They did give us more free throws than the Knicks, so it's not the regular way of ref manipulation. It's more like kind of like, we're going to do some screwy calls. I mean, that flagrant on Garrett at the end was just unnecessary. Why would you do that? There's a lot of goofy stuff in this game. Let's go over it. I have the stars of the game, the classic card, the Instagram stories, and we will cover that 9:05 game also today, in which that was very disappointing also. So, let me start with the chat before we do anything here. We'll start with Trevor J's words of wisdom to start the game. This is what he's saying. The bounce back is always stronger than the setback. 100%. What tries to break you only builds your power. Rise, grind, and show up bigger every time. I like that. That's the eye of the tiger. That's the keep going through adversity and failure and find success through the work. Yeah. We got to remember. And I hope that Raptors Nation and Raptors Reddit and different places understands this is a process. This is a journey. This is ups and downs. And, we lost the Knicks again. We don't have that test figured out yet. That is a test. Darko said after the game that the Knicks use physicality to get us off our game and cause turnovers. And that was a big part of it right there. 20 turnovers for the Raptors last night really hurt bad. And then the lack of three-point shooting and the lack of the ability to make shots late in the game absolutely sunk our team last night. Yeah, credit to the Knicks, even though y'all are being cocky and some ways I don't give you a lot of credit for playing their style of game and doing what they do and executing through being down for most of the game. Credit to them for that. Of course, we're going to be showering OG with love, even though OG is a Knick now. He played amazing. How can you get mad at OG? OG had 6 steals. He shot really, really well. He was hitting threes. He was doing all kinds of different stuff to help the Knicks win last night. and that's why they got him. In some ways, it's sad that our two guys that got in that trade did not show up last night in their full strength in the way they could. But RJ's expanding to regular minutes in this game last night. He was on his coming back from injury minutes, which were right around 20 minutes, and he played a little bit longer. And Manuel, he's been playing so well recently. He's not going to be exactly the same he was on the West Coast trip all the time. And we have to accept him for his variance in play. We'll go over the box score and we'll look more closer at these guys as we do the stars of the game. Trevor J saying the Raptors' defensive breakdown loss to the Knicks is a matchup problem. Very careless with the ball, lots of turnover. In some ways, there's some people putting stats out there that the Raptors are this record against the top teams in the league and all this kind of bullshit. Sure, we've had trouble with the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks this year, but that is not totally a fluke. That is by design. That, I'm going to say it once again. The Raptors ran the Atlantic Division for the 2010s. And in some ways, those franchises were toxic and floundering and losers and losing and not building anything good. Now they're in their heydays. And the NBA wants to make sure that the Raptors' record against the Celtics and the Knicks is going the right direction with the overall record between the franchises. Because in some ways, we have a really good record against the Knicks over our 30 years of playing them. We've done pretty good. And they want to make it a little bit not close. They want to make it a lot worse so that it looks better over time. So there is a league office directive to make sure that the Raptors lose to our Atlantic Division opponents. Some of it is by design to keep us out of the playoffs. Some of it is by design to keep us down and not near the top of the league, because they figure if the Knicks and the Celtics are above us, we can't be near the top of the league. Well, we could be right next to them, though, at the top of the league, can't we? Because that's what we're doing. And y'all can try and screw us over in Atlantic Division opponents' games, referees and front office over and over again, but we're going around and beating other people, and our record looks good, and we stay up near the top still. I don't know. I mean, it's for real. The whole thing about the Raptors versus Atlantic Division that they tried to make sound so bad in recent years was like the Raptors have not beaten an Atlantic Division opponent. They have not beaten the Knicks in 10 games. They have not beaten the Celtics in 10 games. That is all a conspiracy and a very, very much intricate system of referee hit jobs. Ed Malloy for Boston and Mark Davis for New York Knicks. This kind of shit has been going on for a couple years now. So I'm not surprised by this. I'm not going to say the Knicks didn't win on their own merit last night. They did. But once again, Mark Davis is there as a guardrail to make sure the car doesn't go off the road towards a Raptors W. So they won it. They did win it on their own merit. But, Mark Davis would be there to screw things up for the Raptors if it was too close. I'll tell you right now. That's what his purpose was there. He did it in Charlotte earlier this year. He did it very much in Charlotte. And you can look at that Charlotte game that went to overtime, and you can see exactly how Mark Davis does what he does when he has to. Yeah. Yeah. Trevor's saying they got no help off the bench. When they're good, they're very good. When they're bad, they're very bad. Yeah, we're going to look at the box score, and we'll go over the problems with our Raptors bench last night. We got 4 quarters with Seymour Pape coming in right now. Mr. Pape, how are you this morning?
I'm good. Can't complain. It was a messed up night last night. Because remember I said I was going to poke the bear, and I made a couple phone calls to the Bronx, and I was poking the bear before the game.
Why'd you do that?
Well, we was on a streak, and we were playing hot.
We don't need that energy, though, because that's part of the karma that comes back around, and that's going to come back around for Josh Hart at some point. Watch.
Yeah, it's a learning thing. I want to start with quarter one.
Sure.
That play with Shed. We starting this good. That play with Shed where he dropped. What's his name? Landry Shamet.
Shamet, yeah.
Yeah, where he dropped him. I like that play. That play, man, that had me out of my seat because it looked like Shamet looked like he was hurt off of that play too. He was limping for a little bit.
Yeah, the whole ankles breaking thing is kind of goofy. I've always thought that, like, why would you get joy off somebody getting hurt because they got a move put on them or something like that? But I guess that's a street baller and one kind of thing.
Yeah, it looked good. It looked good. It was a good play. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another thing. I didn't like Grady jump. You know when the ball's going out of the play and people dive for the loose ball. I get it. It's an effort thing. I just don't like it because it puts your team at a disadvantage when you dive for the ball.
Because you got to get up.
Bounds and you throw it blindly over your head back into play because now it's a 5-on-4 if the other team gets the ball. You know what I mean? I didn't like that.
Yeah. This is one of the rule things or the basketball philosophies that's changed with the new generation and the young players now, which makes me disrespect them more because it's dumb basketball. It is dumb basketball because like there were certain golden rules and certain kind of things that I was taught when I was watching basketball when I was younger that these are just good fundamental ways to play. And the whole idea of jacking up a three on a fast break before anybody's back is a big cardinal sin that's in this category. And it pisses me off because, you know, they should be teaching kids when they first start playing basketball not to save the ball under their basket. And I also, you know, I get what you're saying, but effort should always be like encouraged because it's like, look, they're getting after it. They're getting on the floor and doing that. But I get what you're saying, especially if you're down. And you know, the other trend that these guys are doing that lately is if they do hit the floor, they're waiting for a while to lay there. It's like, why are you waiting? Get the fuck back up. It's like you're just laying there. Oh, I need to milk it. So they get the call. But if they lay down there and they wait to try and get a call and the play action is still moving, it's like, what are you doing? But I mean, I would say the effort is great. And that's the thing we should be more looking at. But I totally get what you're saying. There used to be a strategy to either avoid or deny a man advantage on a fast break because you had certain principles and golden rules that you didn't break that were basketball fundamentals that are not being taught to the current generation of basketball players coming in the NBA, which is crazy to me because that shit is supposed to be instilled in high school and you would see it in college for sure. But a lot of the old philosophies that are winning philosophies and fundamentals to basketball are not getting passed down, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense what you're saying because you're seeing more of a lot of just athletic players and shooters in the league. That's it. Athletic and shooters. There's no IQ to the game, you know? No IQ to the game.
And to me, this isn't even NBA level basketball fundamental smarts. This is any level basketball fundamental smarts. Like you could be down the street at the park, and this is the kind of stuff you're supposed to do to respect the game and play right to win. So yeah, it's crazy. I don't understand it. And to me, it's like, Darko, you guys are coaches. You know the old school stuff, right? Teach your young players. If the other teams in the league are not going over the basic golden rules of fundamentals in basketball and what you do and you don't do, then maybe we should to gain a competitive advantage and go old school. Darko, seriously, cut out all this malarkey that's newer that is not good basketball.
All right, another thing. So let's lead into another quarter here. So it's interesting that you said about Darko should teach them the basics fundamentals. But remember, Darko's from Europe, right? Mm-hmm. So right now, what he came with was move the ball to the open man. Keep moving the ball, and you'll find the open man for the open shot, right?
Yep.
And with my problem with that is BI's game.
Mm-hmm.
BI's game, I noticed, as soon as he gets the ball, BI doesn't care if there's an open man in the corner. I get it. He's a pro, all-star, elite ISO
top level
player.
Yeah.
Once your game is one-dimensional, where I know once you touch the ball, you're not even looking for the rest of your team.
Yeah.
Automatic jump shot.
Too predictable.
I don't like it. I get it that he's really good at what he does. I just don't think it fits the system.
Yeah.
I don't think it fits the system.
I'm with you on this in some ways. In some ways, I think that it can be maybe changed slightly and it'll be okay. But, you know, this has been a classic debate in basketball forever. It's like team play versus isolating your best, most talented player to just take over and do what he does. And the thing that happened last night was our passing went away as the game went on. We stopped passing the ball around, and the stagnation in the field goal percentage hurt for it. And somebody straight up asked Darko this after the game last night, is saying, aren't you getting a little too predictable with trying to force the ball to Brandon in the post? You're getting a little too predictable with that. And other teams are kind of like, looking for that in the scouting report, and they're gaming for it. And in some ways, it's ugly. It's not smooth because they are ready for it. And we are not changing things in the right way to figure that out. I mean, there are some concerns with what you're saying. It's just that we just need to maybe be more inventive and creative about how Brandon gets the ball to him instead of just the straight up, we're posting you and we're going to throw it in there. We saw footage of Darko practicing with Brandon and teaching him more about catching the lob into the post in this situation when he's posting up. And I mean, that's the plan, but the plan is out there and people are gaming for it, and they're having a lot more success screwing up our offense when it's centered around Brandon at times just because of that. But he's like DeRozan. He's crazy. He's going to try and shoot over 2-3 guys without getting it to the guy in the corner. In some ways, that may be part of the problem right there, that he does need to just make sure he makes the pass. So yeah, it's annoying. I don't know if it's not about him fitting or whether he fits on our team or not. That's not what I don't look at it as that bad.
He definitely fits on the team. It's just his game is very one-dimensional. It's very readable. The whole
I don't know. I don't know if that's totally true. We did see him go around OG at one point and attack the basket. He will shoot. He's got different levels to his offense. He's got the 3 levels. And I don't know. It's easy to say that just because he kind of has a certain way that he does things, for sure.
You don't see him as just a 1v1 player. You don't see him you don't see that.
No, because in some ways, look, what I've wanted Darko to do more of, and we've seen it at times, is have him kind of just as a regular guy out of the whole 5, not any special preference. And when we move the ball around in our offense, the way that we do, he's going to get the Plinko chip landing on his spot from time to time, and he'll be able to get a shot that may be way more wide open because we're not doting on him and forcing the ball to him. You think about it. We move it around, and all of a sudden, Scotty's got it in the post on one side, and Brandon's over on the other side on the 3-point line. They're going to collapse on Scotty coming in there, and who knows? Maybe Brandon is that guy they left, and they're tossing the ball over Scotty's shoulder, and Brandon's hitting a 3, that kind of stuff. It's like he doesn't have to, the part of it is that we know that he's a good high percentage shot maker when he does get the ball in isolation one-on-one, but he doesn't have to get his offense that way. He can get it through the way that everybody else does and just kind of moving it around. And if it lands on his spot and he's open, take the shot. But also at the same time, at the end of the shot clock, he's a great weapon to have out there because it's dwindling down and you need something good, and he can get that height over the person who's defending him and make a pretty good shot. So,
yeah, I agree with you on all of that, right? I agree with you that he's a high percentage maker. He is a guy you would want the ball in the hands at the end of the clock. The only part there that I don't agree with you is when you compared Scotty to see with Scotty now. When Scotty attacks the lane, or he's about to do his pull-up, you still don't know what he's going to do. Yep. Scotty has a game where he can find that open man in the corner, or you know what I mean? His game is so dimensional. With BI now, though, if I'm guarding BI and I know I don't think he's looking for that
tendency. It's his tendency. His tendency is a little too predictable. And I think every high-level offensive player in the NBA goes through this, where defensively, people are just keying on him and taking him away. I mean, this is something Fred talked about on Garden. He said, look, the one year that Raptors tried to make me the number 1 guy, I hated it because every game we came into that season, the other team's whole defense was centered around stopping me. And I'm like, I don't want all this attention. Go guard Pascal is what Fred was saying. It was around when he got his All-Star, right? So he's like, that's another level of what we got to understand is when you become the man on the team, like a Brandon, like a Scotty, the other team is scheming with you in mind first as a priority. And that makes it so much harder for you. But I think that you're right. He's getting a little too predictable. And like most top level scorers in the NBA, they have to go through an adjustment period where they deviate away from shooting so much and just becoming the passer out of it. Because that may be what we need to do with Brandon is he's got to be a decoy for a little while. And he's got to get a lot better at quickly getting the ball out of the double team to the open guy because in some ways forcing the shot over 2 or 3 defenders is not totally working all the time, and it's getting too known that it's happening and they are ready for it. So.
Another way to look at it is the Mamba mentality. Because remember, he has the Mamba mentality.
Yep.
He's a student under Kobe, and Kobe was a killer.
Yeah.
Kobe wanted all the smoke. Kobe wanted that last shot. Kobe, you know what I mean? You can see he has and I guarantee you, Kobe probably told him, yo, take 50 shots in a game. Even if you miss 30, that next 20 is key. Like, and I mean, you can see it in his game because when he's going out there, he plays like there's nobody in the league that's stopping his jump shot.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And he's right to a degree. I mean, and that's part of the reason why the inside the NBA guys are saying Brandon Ingram's an all-star. And, it is very much the Mamba mentality. It is the same thing that DeMar had when he was on our team and when he was trying to defeat defenses all by himself in the 2010s on the Raptors. This is a very similar situation. But I think that, because we have a multitude of weapons, we got to figure this out. One of the things they asked Darko about in the interview after the game is why didn't you play Brandon more in a certain period of the game? And he's, I think that Darko in some ways is saving his energy so he doesn't overplay him for the whole course of the year because he's trying to play as many games. And he also said, RJ just came back. I had to increase his minutes. Colin just came back from an injury for the first time in a couple games. And also, I'm trying to expand Grady's role and giving him more minutes. So he actually admitted he shrank Brandon's minutes last night to a degree. And I would say that's partly self-preservation for him as far as his health in the long slog of the year is that, we could put heavy minutes on Brandon every game and wear him the hell down. So it's important that we kind of spread it out like Darko did last night. All right, third quarter.
Yeah, for sure. I think you touched on this already. I just blame last night's loss, not mainly, but a key thing was the sluggish legs. You can see it from the West Coast trip coming back home. And you, like you said, it doesn't get any easier for them because they're going back on the road. I think you said they're going to Orlando next. Like, that's a crazy trip.
Yeah.
From the West, hitting Ontario, now you got to go all the way south down to Florida.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy jet lag on the body. So we seen it in the game because I was like, yo, these guys are not really hustling to get back. But then I'm thinking about, I'm like, how can I blame these guys when they just came from the West Coast? And then, like you said yesterday about the frost quake. When you think about the different of weather, the atmosphere and everything, and you're putting your body in these different atmospheres and stuff, it takes a toll on the body for sure. And we've seen it in the game.
The weather in Oklahoma City wasn't that much different than here in Ontario, though. That's the interesting thing. They had a bunch of snow, and their temperatures were crazy low too. The one thing I will say about this, though, is, and Fred talked about this once again on Unguarded, he's letting all the cats out of the bag, is the hidden cost of flying all the time in the NBA. Flying can be unhealthy for you, like going up and down with the pressure changes and all this kind of stuff. It's actually not good for your body. Is like the pressurization and the going up the altitude and coming down. If you do it regularly, you can start to have health problems in different ways. And that's one of the dirty little secrets about being a professional athlete and like flying around in planes all the time is that there is a price paid for the travel and the plane flights. And,
for sure.
And nobody talks about this at all, ever. And this is actually really true. That's why sometimes people have health issues on the plane because there may be something wrong with them and the pressurization changes it. And then all of a sudden you've got like a bursted this or this happened or something like that. It's crazy. Like the guy who was Billy Mays Hayes or something like that. He had like an embolism on a plane because the pressure changed in his brain, like a blood vessel burst in his head while he was on a plane because he was flying. It's crazy. So that's something people don't talk about. But yeah, I think that what I said earlier about the fact that they did a 9-game road trip, was out west, came back just for this pit stop, and they're going to go to Orlando now, and then they're going to come right back and play Utah the next game after that. It is a little bit of jerking around and maybe a little bit of like, oh, I'm home. Okay, but I got to get hurried up and go. And like, it's very devious. And a lot of the scheduling of the Knicks games this year are all very questionable and strategically trap games. A lot of them. This whole year, there's different situations when we play the Knicks that are not totally favorable. Let's just put it that way. It's just, it is whatever. They're trying to do this. They game it through the schedule and the refs. They do. All right, let's do the fourth quarter.
The lack of size inside was a problem last night. Definitely. I think Towns is a soft big man.
Yeah, 22 rebounds though.
He had 20 yeah, but it's because we didn't have a true big out there to put a body on him.
Yeah.
Their issue with him, from what I've been hearing, is they've been trying to get rid of him because he's not playing like a true big man. There's plays where he's doing a fadeaway jump shot, falling. He's not running.
It does seem like it's funny because like how many years has Cat been in a Knicks uniform? It does already seem he's worn out his welcome, and that Knicks Nation is very quick to throw him in the trade machine for people like Giannis. Yeah. I think that's interesting. I mean, in some ways it makes sense because of the mentality and the history of the Knicks and who they are, and to have a soft ass center like him doesn't fit totally. No, it doesn't. No.
And the fact we didn't have a center at all.
Yeah, he's just rebounding off length in the game against us last night. And I'm a little disappointed with Scott because I feel like there was a lot of different areas where he could have stepped up and made a difference, whether it's being more aggressive on his offense later or, containing Cat on the boards a little bit better, because that's really was your duty last night, Scott. You and Sandro for the most part, and maybe Colin a bit too as the rookie. That y'all should have been containing Cat on the boards a little bit better. And I know that maybe, Darko said there's some good tape for the game last night, and they're going to be learning from it. So that's part
another thing that you said, though. Do you think the ref manipulation helped in their factor as well? Because it's like at one point I heard them say the Knicks they shot 16 free throws before even halftime. So at that point, it's like, what's the point of me even putting my body on? I can't touch the air.
Yeah, that's the hidden like manipulation that's just straight up is when we play the Celtics and the Knicks, they are allowed to mug us. They are allowed to physically hit our asses all over the place, and nothing is called. And that's the part of the frustration. That's the mind fuck. That's part of the difficultness of what the NBA does to teams that they don't want to win. Is that we will call ticky-tack touch, breathing on that dude fouls on you. And meanwhile, we will incredulously look the other way when you're driving to the lane and you're getting arms hit on your forearm when you're coming up with the basket, RJ and Scotty, and we will not call any fouls for you in that kind of way. This is something that they do just to frustrate the hell out of them. And it's a mind game. It's like, look, yeah, we're helping them for sure. Look, we're going to let them hack the hell out of you. We're not going to call nothing. And meanwhile, you guys are going to get called for the stupidest little fouls too. And, that makes a player, because we talked about this at different times on this channel over the years, that makes a player have to question about just how all out they can go on defense. And then think about that with the whole idea of like, whoa, they're not playing good enough defense. Well, because in some ways the refs have trained them through the game that if you touch them, you can't do this. You can't. You're going to get a foul called. So it's a really screwed up, insidious way to do this. It's really screwed up, and that's the tough balance that the Raptors players have to find: is don't get totally frustrated, but also figure out the allowed amount of contact that the referees are going to allow you and make it just to the edge. And if you can't, you got to play tight where you can't be physical with them at all because the whistle is really getting called. I mean, there's adjustments. And the crazy thing is the refs are all different. So they have different proclivities and tendencies. And then they also switch it up as the game goes on. And there'll be a quarter where they don't call any fouls and they just let people play crazy physical. And then they'll all of a sudden tighten it up and they're calling every little ticky-tack thing. It's all part of the mind fuck. And it's absolutely by the minute and the second that the Raptors have to adjust to the referees and how they're calling things all throughout the game. And it's tough. It's tough. That's the part of the phenomena right there. And like I said, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, OG, those guys can be so physical with us and they get away with it. They get away with it.
I still have confidence. If we meet up with them in the playoffs, I still have confidence that we'll give it to them. We'll beat them.
That's what I'm saying. They're like our final. They're one of our final tests. They're one of our tests that we got to go through. Obviously, possibly. Who knows? Maybe there's a route to the championship this year, and we don't even have to beat the Knicks in the playoffs because somebody else does. But that would be very nice. Is like even if we lose the season series, like we have, we're down 3-0. If we face them in the playoffs and we can beat them in the playoffs, that's awesome. But a lot of people say there's no way y'all will beat us in the playoffs. And the cocky New York fans would probably be like that. And NBA fans will probably be like, well, they've been beating you, so why would you beat them? I don't know. Maybe we progress and we learn, and we're better students at that time, and we're ready for that test. Yeah. All right, Seymour. I'm gonna let you go today, man. You gonna get your shots up today?
More shots up over here in the Mountain Time region. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, I heard it. I just heard the ball hit the backboard. That's right. He's in the warehouse. He's got the ball. They've got the hoop. The trucks are not there, so he's putting in shots. That's right.
All right, yo, cheer.
All right, Seymour. Let's go, Raptors. And that's our guy, the City Slicker, Seymour Pape, calling in from Alberta to talk about the game. 4 quarters with Seymour Pape. Love that segment, man. That's so fun. We went a little bit over long on that, but that's okay, man. It's a good talk there, right there. Good talk. All right, let's see. Smooth is here. Good to see Reggie. Knicks are at another level right now. Toronto can't beat them right now. Yeah, we'll admit this. I'll admit this. I mean, like I said, you've got a veteran core that's been together for a while, the Knicks. And in some ways, this is a team that they're just a little bit further up the escalator than us towards trying to win the championship. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be like this forever, because honestly, I could see the Knicks screwing up their team by making a huge splashy trade in the near future. And who knows what could happen then? Go ahead and make a trade, New York. Yeah, you're not exactly right. Trade Cat and go and get Giannis if you can. I'd love to see you guys get Antetokounmpo and see what happens there. See what happens there. Mr. Quasimodo is saying our home games suck. Away games out record is unmatched. Yeah, this is a weird phenomena. And they asked Brandon about this after the game. He's like, what's going on with y'all on the road and at home? And Brandon said, I don't know. I guess we just really get up for games on the road. We it's something like it's fun or something like that. Yeah, I feel like some of it is the home crowd at the Scotiabank Arena is lame sometimes. Like if you get a more live crowd, like that overtime game that Adriana and I went to with Philadelphia, where we won by 1 point and went into overtime, it was just crazy in the building on that Sunday night. And sometimes the crowd just comes in and they suck. They're just like they revert to the old school Raptors fan kind of like entertain me or I'll be quiet. That kind of bougie fucking dumbass attitude. I wish our crowd came every night with the defense chants right off the jump ball. I wish they do it all 4 quarters, all 48 minutes, as soon as an opponent is holding the ball, defense, like I do. But unfortunately, the crowd is not there for the Raptors like that every single night. So I will blame the crowd for our home record not being as good as it could, because y'all could be doing better in the stands. And I know, because I go to games and I hear y'all not doing jack shit to help them. And I was talking to a friend about this. It's like, do the Raptors crowd energy, yelling at the team, defense, and go Raptors go and all that stuff, does that actually help the team? You're right. It does. It damn does. It does. Some people say, no, you don't have any effect on it. That is bullshit. Because I'll tell you right now, the louder it is when we have they have the ball, the other team has the ball, and we are on defense and our crowd is yelling defense, it's hard for them to be set and get their offense going because it's loud. And we're feeding energy. And especially if a team's coming back from a long road trip, or they've been playing a back-to-back, or they played 4 out of 5 days of basketball, the crowd can feed extra energy to our players and get them over the hump. But our crowd comes down there and they're bougie. They're Bay Street people. They're just people that don't really give a shit about basketball. The Raptors, they're just to be seen or having the ticket because it's cool and fun to go to. They don't really care about them winning or not. They will drop the ball and they won't support the team the way that I would. And it pisses me off, especially for a game like New York last night, when our crowd could have been a factor if they're really bringing it. And that's why I tell anybody who goes to games, be like me. Don't be one of these fans that says you have to earn my cheering and my noise, because y'all motherfuckers are loud, and you can't get loud because I see it on a sneaker drop or a t-shirt toss or a jersey handout. All y'all in the crowd get loud as fuck when they calling out the swag and coming with the t-shirt cannon. And then during the game, y'all are clamming up like mice and sitting there. I'm like, motherfuckers, you had this noise 5 minutes ago when you had a shirt you wanted. I want a shirt. I want a shirt. And you were so quiet during the game. I don't get loud during t-shirt toss. I don't care about that shit. I got a pile of Raptors shirts over there that's almost to the ceiling. But y'all motherfuckers going to the game to get shirts? I'm going to the game to get W's. And I wish y'all would be coming to the game for the right reasons like me. I know a lot of y'all are like me if you go to the games. But I'm just saying in general for people that have the privilege and get to go to the Raptors games in Scotiabank Arena. There's a difference here. And we can feel it on certain games. Part of the reason why the Raptors won game 1 of the finals in 2019 against the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry is because that energy came that night like that from that crowd. So we can make a difference every single one of the 41 home games of the Toronto Raptors at Scotiabank Arena. It's just whether that crowd shows up correctly like it should, like I do when I'm there. There are specific games where I will go on purpose because I know I really want them to win. And maybe I should have went last night. I feel bad. I start to feel like, Lex, you should have went down there. You could have been that main cheerleader to help the crowd rise up and give that right energy and get behind the team and give them the extra energy, that extra oomph to beat the New York Knickerbockers. I mean, I've done it a few times. There was a Cleveland game a couple years ago that I absolutely helped them win, partly because I was sitting near courtside and I was loud as fuck, bringing that 300 level loudness to the game. And that game against Philadelphia, the overtime win, the first of 2 in a row, yeah, we willed that game to win for the Raptors between the players on the court and the fans in the arena not giving up on them and not letting down. So, yeah, it's annoying, man. That's the best thing I can say about the problem with our home record. And what we need to do to help them is us, the fans, and we're coming to the game and how we are doing what we're doing. That's right. So we're saying Knicks fans are responding to a lot of Raptors fans talking before the game. It's how Knicks people are, most of them. Yeah, I know they're annoying. They're turds. They're turd buckets. I mean, seriously, man, they really are one of the cockiest fan bases when they're doing well. That's why when they're losing and their misery, I love it. Because honestly, they deserve that. They deserve to be in misery. The way they act when they win, it's epitomized by Josh Hart doing an unclassy thing with guns, shooting at our bench. What's the message there, Josh Hart? We have a world that's devolving into senseless violence because of a crazy ass presidency in the White House right now. And you're going to do that? That's not classy, bro. Seriously, violence is wrong. Gun violence is horrible. And doing stupid shit like that, I'm glad they threw towels at your face, you sorry ass jabroni. And somebody is saying on Discord, do we have an enforcer to get his ass? Yeah, we do. And we will get him later. Trust me. There will be receipts paid to Josh Hart for his little comedy bang bang bullshit at the end of the game last night. Yeah, we have an enforcer. Oh, yeah, there's a couple of them on our team. One of them has been out, and he's going to be ready to come back soon, hopefully, when his back's ready. But there's other guys too. Scotty could get him later too. Oh, yeah. You don't think Scotty could do a enforcer thing at this point? Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. Sandro's fine for this. I think Colin Murray-Boyles is a pretty strong rookie. Yeah, there's receipts that can be paid to Josh Hart down the road. Trust me. Trust me for that little goofy shit. Yeah, and he got towels thrown in his face. He did. He got towels thrown in his face for that shit. Yeah, this is a cockiness. It's like, motherfuckers, y'all haven't won since 73. And don't tell me this in-season tournament bullshit counts as a championship. Okay? Knicks fan, you're going to come in here, watch me, and be like, oh, we beat them. We beat them. Well, you're going to hear what I have to say. And I'm saying it right now. That's right. Another thing Knicks fan said to me earlier this year is like, y'all won't be where the Knicks are going to take over above you guys in the standings soon, and we'll see you. Bye. Nope, we stuck with you. We're right next to you, and we've overleaped you in the last week. We're above you guys in the standings. So don't get all cocky and high and mighty, New York Knicks, because you can fall below us in the standings. Even if you beat us when we play you, we could still have a better record than you at the end of the year and be above you with a higher seed in the playoffs. Part of the reason why they want us to lose to Boston and New York is if there are any playoff ties, they want them to have the tiebreaker. So it's very important for us to lose to them from the NBA head office. It's all by design. Trust me. That's all by design. All right, let's see. Mr. Quasimodo saying they need to play us in New York for this to be fair. Laugh out loud. And that's sad. No, it's not like that. Seriously. It's not like that. You know, the Raptors were road warriors, obviously. And this is fantastic. I mean, we had a hard time winning road games last year for a long time, but this year we're doing really well. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just these guys get on the road and they get into this group mentality that sometimes teams do when they're on long road trips. I don't know. Maybe it's also a thing like where we want to prove that we can beat the Western Conference because people have said the Western Conference is the tougher conference. There's a lot to it. It's not as simple as this. Our home crowd and our home court is fine, Mr. Quasimodo. It's just that in some ways we're better on the road this year. That's all. Yeah. So Reggie's saying New York is a matchup nightmare. Advantages everywhere for them. For all the people that thought the Raptors have arrived, nope, not yet. Yeah, don't be such an Eeyore, Smooth. Come on, man. Don't be such an Eeyore. Oh, New York is a matchup nightmare. Advantages everywhere for them. For all the people that thought the Raptors have arrived, nope, not yet. Okay, Eeyore. All right, I'll be Tigger over here. Woo-hoo-hoo! And I'll say this as like, look, they were designed to beat us. In some ways, they saw us as like the team to try and beat. You know how teams will build a team just to beat a certain team? Well, in some ways, this is what's going on with the Knicks, is that they wanted to design a team that will beat the Raptors because they got sick of the Raptors beating their ass for so many years in a row. So that's part of what this is, Smooth, just so you know. You know how that is. It's like the Blue Jays. They got a certain number on certain teams that are from the same city as the Knicks. And that was partly by design, right? Did the front office of the Toronto Blue Jays build a team to beat the Yankees? Yeah. Yeah, they did. So this is a similar kind of thing in reverse, is what I'm saying right here. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying this. Good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. Not sure what happened yesterday. The first quarter was amazing. Then, yeah. I mean, they started off great, and this is a great trend for the Raptors recently, is that we're jumping out all over teams and scoring like the first 10 points. And that was badass. And I loved seeing that last night. We played really well for the most part in the first half, and we were fine. And, it's just that kind of thing. It's like the team can say it. It's cliche. We got to play well for all 48. We got to play well for all four quarters. We got to play well the whole entire time. I'll reference Fred once again. Fred VanVleet on Unguarded. So much gold there. He's talking about how, one of the games that the Rockets lost recently is like he felt like they lost because of a lack of experience at the end of the game because they're a young core in Houston. And what they are trying to figure out, he said this all out loud on his show, is that young teams have to figure out how much it takes to win in games. And that's a full effort, the whole 48 minutes of all four quarters. And also realizing that everything that happens in the game, from the start of the tip-off to the end, helps define what the game outcome will be. And that, young players may think carelessly earlier in the game about missed free throws and turning the ball over and being casual. It's like, oh, this is a long game. We'll make it up later. That's the thing. Fred's saying basically like our young guys in Houston have to realize how much your mistakes earlier in the game will add up to whether you win at the end and stuff like that. These are all learning journeys for young cores and rebuilding teams that have players that are all mostly under 25 years old. That there's a learning curve to learn this kind of stuff, what it takes to win in the NBA and how quality you have to be for the 48 minutes and all the minutes. And that starts from the jump ball from start. So seeing the Raptors get out the good starts lately shows that, this is starting to build and good. Because lately, like, in years past, we'd be the ones down by 10 in the first 5 minutes of game and digging ourselves out of a hole right from the start. So there's a lot of good developments. And even though we lost last night, there are things to take from this game last night that are positive. I will say that. That's right. We need lethal shooter. Yeah. I mean, you guys keep bringing this up. In some ways, this is gimmicky, what y'all are saying. But I mean, I'm willing to try anything. So who knows? G saying this. Some fans are freaking out. I personally temper my expectations. Knicks are win now, even their payroll, more experienced. I don't think they play rookies and sophomores meaningful minutes. This is exactly true. They're in a different mode than we are. We're still a rebuilding team. Now, granted, we are an advanced rebuilding team that is winning a lot, but they are a team that's not rebuilding. They have their veteran core and they're in championship mode. Exactly. This is exactly right. We have to understand that in some ways that is part of the tiers here, is that we're not ready to be in their tier yet, but we will be in the near years to come. So be patient, understand the assignment, don't overreact, don't go crazy just because of this. In some ways, the Knicks have our number this year, and that's just what we have to accept, but that's not going to be forever. And we will pass this test at some point. Watch, guys. We will. Yeah, we will get there, but we are at a different steps in the escalator, and that's okay. Soon we will be dominating teams consistently. In some ways, there's way more pressure on the New York team than us because they are expected to championship or bust. That's dangerous in some ways because if they fail, like they always do, and they probably will, it's going to be a travesty in New York City and everybody's going to fall out and it'll be the normal toxic, crazy shit this off season. And they will have crazy problems with their fan base wanting to move people and being like this and overcritical and stuff like that's all going to happen. You guys know that'll happen. A Knicks championship is not likely. Let's just put it that way. They may think that and want that. That's their own damn ego shaping that. And that's a thing. A team like Cleveland, a team like New York, any of these high salary teams that are in this bracket, like G saying, it's championship or bust. And if they don't get to that place, they're a failure. And it really hurts at that point. And that's in some ways way more pressure than we have on us. That's just the truth. That's the truth. Reggie's saying this team just has to go through these experiences. Exactly right. Smooth's got it exactly right there. New York is a great team. They have a real desire to win. We do too. Toronto guys could learn a thing or two from them. Yeah, of course. We will learn from losing and learn from experience. And Darko's ready to run that tape this morning and have the morning meeting and really analyze it and learn from it. That's the thing. He can see a lot of stuff from last night and teach these guys. And that's what they're doing right now, probably, wherever they are. That's right. That's right. That's right. Mr. Quasimodo's laughing. I like that. G's saying exactly, Smooth. Hang on. It jumped ahead. I want to just make sure I don't miss any of the comments here. He's saying exactly, Smooth was the where it started. Wow, really, really a lot of filling up here. It's good. Knicks went from the bottom for years and years to slowly get to this gritty team. We were ahead of schedule, in my opinion. Yeah, they finally started making pretty decent team building moves instead of just spinning their wheels with idiocy and dumbass moves, which I like that mode of the Knicks more when they're a laughing stock and they're inept as a front office and they just make poor moves and have shitty teams. I like that way better. But we'll get back to that era again soon. Watch. At some point we will, but they've done a pretty good job. Some people would say, "What Leon Rose has done a good job," and all stuff. You guys just collected Villanova guys, and yeah, it is what it is. We'll see. They got their time in the sun right now. We'll see how long it lasts, and really see if they ever get another championship. Actually, I mean, shit, it's been 52 years, New York Knicks. 52 years. That in-season tournament championship might be sufficing, and that may be all you get. Oh man. Yeah, let's go. All right, let's see. Smooth saying, "Yep, I love the Knicks. I love their fans. I don't mind the talk." Okay, you go ahead and love them. They're our arch enemy. Fuck the Knicks. Fuck their fans. There you go. I'll cancel out your part. You go that way. I'll go this way, and I'll talk shit for us. And you go ahead and sit on the fence. That's fine. Fuck them, especially with their bullshit and Josh Hart. That's right. G saying, let them be cocky. It took them years to go from bottom to this. Raptors did an entire rebuild and just behind them in a very short time. Exactly. I mean, if we really want to talk about this kind of stuff, the Knicks are inept at rebuilding their team for so long. It's like they had the Ewing era, and then what happened after that? And like, were they going for most of the 2000s? Yeah, it's only been in recent years that they've become a power again, and they've gotten cocky again about it. So you lowly ass Knicks fans, you better watch out. You might go right back to that hovel you used to sit in for most of the last 20 years. So you better watch out the way you talk to people. Seriously. Seriously. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. G saying Raptors are young and immature at times. Top teams will most likely beat them, and that's good. They need to be battle tested. People see losing as failure when it's actually the next step to winning. Exactly. Exactly. Immature people only care about win, win, win all the time. And if they don't win, I'm mad at them and I'm going to lash out and act emotionally hurt. Like you have anything to do with this shit. Seriously. All right, let's keep going. Kareem saying, unpopular opinion. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I know BI is the most efficient isolation player in the league, but I don't like getting into isolation with 15 seconds on the shot clock. Everyone becomes spectators at that point. I agree with this. I don't think this is an unpopular opinion. I think that if Darko's philosophy and the way that he wants to run the offense is the way he wants to run the offense, there should be no exceptions. And I know that Brandon at times should have isolation plays run for him, but they should be special times and they shouldn't be like overdone. In some ways, that's part of the problem. You know, I could think about Nick Nurse hiding plays all year, not using them and practice them in practice, and then springing them on teams near the end of the year in the playoffs. In some ways, maybe there's some cards with Brandon Ingram that we need to hold closer to our chest and not let the opponent see so early on. Maybe, yeah. I think that this is true. I think that in some ways, in some ways, why did you trade Siakam? If we're going to go ahead and isolate Brandon at this point. I mean, I get it. They're different players, but it's not that different in some ways if you think about it, right? It's not that different. Yeah, I don't like how early he's getting it. Like, I don't mind, like you're saying, in 15 seconds on the shot clock, if we're in trouble and we need somebody to help, maybe you get the ball to him around 7 seconds or 5 seconds to go on the shot clock so he can make something happen fast, but you pass around for the rest of the shot clock to try and garner the best shot. I don't know. There's probably a balance somewhere in there. KT saying this now makes the offense stagnant and everyone else on the court is getting out of rhythm. Brandon Ingram just puts his head down and goes to work when other guys are trying to cut and set picks. Yeah. No, I mean, this is part of the reason why we let go of a lot of the players that we had when Darko first showed up, and we went in the direction of finding new players here. But Brandon, in some ways, is kind of like that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know. I want diversity in our offense. I want them to keep guessing on the defense for the other team. And I want us to show the versatility of the different weapons we have so that, Brandon is getting better looks and space because they have to respect RJ, Emmanuel, and Scotty more, stuff like that. Reggie's saying New York people love buying 90s Raptors gear. It's everywhere in New York City, man. Okay. That's cool. I mean, we do have the swaggiest swag from the beginning. The iconic purple dinosaur gear is something that is very loved. And in some ways, people made fun of it in the 90s and thought it was ugly and said all this shit. And now we got to the point where it's some of the most sought after and popular vintage NBA gear. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like that. It's just like that. It's crazy how they're like that. Appropriation, right? All right, let's keep going. Somebody's saying New York fans know how good the Raptors are. The more they talk trash about Toronto, it's their way of respect. Okay, good. Good. It's just, whatever. I don't care. Fuck them. I'll talk trash too. And then I'm showing a sign of respect by talking trash to them. No, I mean, I'd say, like, look, they are near the top of the Eastern Conference for a reason, and they are one of the best teams in the league. That's for sure. I mean, I have to give them respect because we haven't beat them in a while. And it's annoying. They're saying OG has not been beaten by the Raptors since he got traded to New York. I know, and that's annoying. That is very annoying. But that's also by design. Realize that. All right, let's do the stars of the game real quick. Number one star of the game last night for me, only 3 stars, is Brandon. I feel like Brandon had the best offensive game out of all the Raptors. He did lead score, 27 points on 10 of 16 shooting in 34 minutes. He was 1 of 3 at the free point line, 6 of 6 at the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 3 steals, and a minus 14. He's just silky smooth. And even though we've just spent a lot of time talking about him being overused and maybe too predictable, man, he is so fun to watch. And the way he makes some of his shots is just so high level. And this is why, I didn't think this would happen. But this is happening right now. The talking sphere, the blogosphere, the NBA rumor mill, or the talking places, the talking points. More and more people are coming out saying the Raptors should have 2 all-stars. and that Brandon Ingram should be an all-star this year. Charles Barkley was adamant about it. And they all agreed on this. Shaq agreed and Ernie, except for Kenny Smith. He's like, yeah, we should have Brandon on the team, but not Scotty. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Kenny Smith? Did you get hit in the head or a mule kicked you in the head or something like that? What's wrong with you? Scotty Barnes is not all-star. And Kevin Garnett saying on his podcast, he thinks both Ingram and Scotty are all-stars. There may be enough talk and buzz around for this to happen, guys. I was cynical, and I was thinking, man, there's no way they're going to give the Raptors 2 all-stars just because they shaft us politically. And they're like, we're going to give the Raptors 2 all-stars. And, Paul Pierce's response to Kevin Garnett shows exactly what the mentality I'm talking about. No, instead of 2 Raptors, they should have 2 Celtics, brown and white. That's what I'm saying. That's what we're up against. But there is a lot more buzz around Brandon Ingram being an all-star also. So who knows? I wasn't thinking it would probably be likely, but there is a bit of signs showing from the prognosticators and talking heads that Brandon Ingram is seriously being considered to make the all-star team by the coaches. So we'll just have to see if the spot works out for him. I mean, I think he's an all-star. I think he deserves it. That's not what I'm saying here. It's just whether the NBA machine and the political scene of the NBA thinks that he deserves it. That's the question. My second star of the game last night is Scotty. Scotty was frustrating at times because we feel like he can do more to help the team, but at the same time, he's still carrying in a lot of ways and doing very essential things. 32 minutes for young Wayne Barnes, 17 points on 6 of 13 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 4 of 5 at the free throw line, 10 rebounds with a double-double, 5 assists, 5 turnovers, 1 block, and a minus 14. I don't know, Scotty, you figure out what you could do to do even better, slowly but surely, incrementally over time. You're doing this 1% better every day, and I can see it in the way you get more and more consistent. But there is going to be a little bit of up and down as far as the wave of production and how Scotty does what he does on courts. So, yeah, I'll give him a pass. The man's an all-star, and he's good. And we want you to get more aggressive and take over the games and just be that alpha big dog on the court out of everybody on the court. But alas, in some ways, you could say OG was that guy last night. Yeah, in some ways, you could say that. My third star of the game for the Raptors last night in the losing effort is Sandro off the bench. I felt like, once again, Sandro is one of the few guys off the bench that is doing things to help us. 25 minutes, 9 points on 4 of 8 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, a steal, and 3 blocks, -8. Sandro very active. Love the 3 blocks and the steal. He's out there playing both ends of the court because he is providing a lot of offense for us. And I love that. All right, we'll go over the rest of the guys just real quick. Maybe I'll give an honorable mention to Grady Dick. 16 minutes, 11 points, 2 of 7 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3. He did make that 1 3, and it felt so nice to see it. I just wish he was a sure shot, eagle eye. 6 of 6 at the free throw line. Darko said after the game he was very pleased with Grady being aggressive and getting free throw shots in the first half. 3 rebounds, 0 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a -9 for Grady Dick off the bench. And those 20 points between Sandro and Grady are pretty much all the points off the bench. There's a 3-pointer made by Shed, and that is it otherwise. Nobody else scored off the bench. And that's what Trevor was saying earlier. It's like either they're very good or they are nothing. It's feast or famine with the Raptors bench right now. And you think with guys back like Jacoby and RJ and Colin, the shift back would make the bench better because some of the guys who've been starting off the bench are now back on the bench. And, well, that's not the case, is it? It's not the case. RJ played a little bit more minutes, 24 minutes. That's not he's been doing 21, so he got a few more minutes. 14 points, 3 of 13. He didn't shoot as well in some ways. It's a little bit of a weird game. I wonder about him and Quickly playing their former team and how much there's a lot of familiarity the other team has with him, especially with Brunson and Hart. And then, there's maybe a lot of shit talking. In some ways, I wonder if that gets them out of their game head-wise. I don't know. There's a lot to it. There's maybe a lot of emotions in playing the former team. OG's probably got a lot of memories and emotions coming back to Toronto. And these guys have a lot of emotions playing their former team, the Knicks, as far as Quickly and Barrett, because they were both not that good last night. 7 of 8 for RJ at the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 0 turnovers, a -10. And Emmanuel, 30 minutes, 7 points on 3 of 9 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, and a steal, -4. Yeah, just a tough game for the two former Knicks. And they didn't rise up and have a revenge game against their former team because in some ways they don't have any animosity towards New York. They got love. And I wish that they had a little bit more animosity. They should have more animosity, especially if their old teammates are talking trash. Colin Murray-Boyles in his return back from the injuries, he was weird. In some ways, he was really good. He was really, really good defensively. But also in some ways, I'm like, man, I wish he was scoring more. Only 4 points for Colin, 28 minutes, 1 of 2, 2 of 4 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, and 4 blocks. That's an eye-opener right there. Colin Murray-Boyles getting 4 recorded blocks last night. He's a -9. Off the bench, Jamal Shed, 23 minutes, 3 points, a 1 of 4 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 2 steals, a -8. Not a good game for Shed. Just a 3 and 2 steals, but 3 turnovers and only 1 assist. Something's wrong there. Shed just didn't have a good game. I guess he was more worried about chasing Jalen Brunson than anything else last night. And Jacoby, really bad game. Really, really bad game. He missed all of his shots, 0 for 6, 0 for 4 from 3, 1 rebound, 1 assist. No turnovers, though. -19, the worst on the team for Jacoby Walter. There was garbage time for Jamison Battle, Jonathan Mobo, Garrett Temple, and Ochai Agbaji. All of them got in for 2 minutes at the end of the game. And basically, there was a flagrant foul on Garrett Temple and a turnover for Jonathan and then a steal. And that's it. The rest of the guys didn't really do jack shit otherwise. Jamison not taking any stats or Ochai Agbaji. So this is a tough output by the bench. You're not helping the team. We need you. On the other side, let me give big props to OG Anunoby. 26 points on 11 of 18 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, 2 of 3 from free throw, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 0 turnovers, and 6 steals and 2 blocks for OG. Fantastic game. And in some ways, I can be proud of OG Anunoby as a Raptors draft pick and a developed product in this NBA. And the Knicks fans can thank us for him and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, you gave us a lot for him. So, you get what you get. You got a good player, and we got 2 good players. So, yeah, we're proud of OG. I'm not mad at him. If he's going to do this kind of stuff, he makes the Raptors and Masai look good after. Seriously, we look good when OG looks good. And y'all talking about he's an all-star right now? Good. I hope he is. I think he's the biggest all-star on y'all's team, not Cat, not Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson had 13 points in the game last night, shot 5 for 13. So maybe Shed was doing something good there. Mikal Bridges really hurt us, especially in that late third quarter when they took over the game and started winning. Mikal just started bombing threes and making all of them. 4 for 6 from 3 with 30 points, 12 of 15 from the field. Yeah, Bridges was a huge catalyst for why the Raptors lost last night. And then, of course, we talked about soft-ass Cat with his 22 rebounds and his bullshit. And Josh Hart did get 22 points in the game last night also. So, yeah, just a tough loss for the Raptors. In some ways, it's a learning experience, like we've been saying here. It's a learning experience, yeah. Let's see. KT saying, now BI is amazing, but and can self-create. It's not even an ISO call. He just goes into hero mode. I've seen him shoot over 2 people more than once because he can. Yeah, he can. And that's why he's getting all-star possible recognition. That's right. Let's see. G saying, my brain works in problem solving, so I like seeing some failure or holes. It makes me excited for the solution, especially knowing we have a competent front office. Maybe something is wrong with me. Laugh out. No, not at all. That's part of your human design, G. You should do a human design test and see what your life's purpose is. It may be that this is wrapped up in this, that you're the kind of person that can see problems and you're a solver. There's a little bit of that in me, in my human design, for sure. So check that out. Seriously, you can find this stuff anywhere. Like I said, you just put in your birth date and the time of day you were born and the location on Earth you were born, and it will tell you amazing things about yourself. And the thing, it's like it's not some sort of weird cult or anything. This is based on science. It's based on physics and astronomy and astrology, and also certain kinds of religious ideologies too. But it's all very scientific, and it's biology. It's like your human design is your biology, the way your body was created when you were created as a human being. And ever since I found out about this stuff last summer, it's been opening my eyes to things about myself that I had no idea about. And it makes so much more sense. So you may be very intrigued to find out what your human design is, like your profile and what type of person you are. I'm a manifest generator. So that means I learn really fast, and I can process things way faster than most people. And I'm a good problem solver in the moment. Like I'm somebody who knows what to do when things are really crazy. All of a sudden, I make the right decisions, and I know what to do right away. It's a weird trait for me in some ways, but yeah, this is definitely a trait in some people's human design, is to see what's lacking or missing in a problem and trying to fix it. And that may be part of what your brain is there. Yeah, Kareem's saying, anyways, I'm not going to banter BI. He's an all-star. Yeah, I think he could be an all-star this year, but if he isn't, I'm not going to be upset. I think he'll probably be one next year if he doesn't make it this year, for sure. God willing, his health. That's right. G's saying this: we need an ISO scorer too. Pass too much also leads to turnovers often, and if they aren't shooting well, that it's some wasted possessions. They just need to find a good balance. I think that's right. I think that having both those weapons is a good diversity and versatility. That's right. All right, we got the infamous 6 coming in now, guys. Good morning, infamous.
Good morning, Lex. How are you doing today?
I'm mostly pretty good. I hated seeing both teams lose last night. It was not fun. But you know what? I have to count my blessings. That's what I'll do today.
Well, you're doing a lot better than I am, because I'm going to be straight and honest. A lot of people are not going to like what I say.
Okay.
And I'm going to get straight to the meat and potatoes.
Sure.
There's 3 teams I hate losing to. I hate losing to the Knicks.
The
hate
Celtics.
Losing to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate losing to the Lakers.
The Lakers. Right? Okay. Yeah.
The Lakers. So let me just tell you exactly what happened in this game. We basically came out bullying them, and they bullied us back. Mm-hmm. They said, okay, you want to play this game? Okay, we'll play it with you. The difference is it was 5 against 8.
Yeah.
Right? It was 5 against 8. Now, the reason I know this is because I was watching the Knicks broadcast, and they were interviewing Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges, when they interviewed him, said, listen, he said, why did you go off? Why did you guys go off on the third? And he literally said that we felt that we were being punked. He felt that the Raptors were trying to punk them. So they were basically like, oh, you're trying to punk us? Okay, let's do this, right? The difference is, too, they're allowed to be more physical with us than we are allowed to be with them. We see that's blatantly obvious, right? And that's always been the workings, and that's tied into the manipulation and everything.
For sure.
Like that. Right. Now, getting Brandon, there's a narrative on Brandon, and I hope other coaches don't start to exploit this, because the key with Brandon is be physical with him. Send a double team and be physical. Yeah. I've mentioned this before. If you're physical with him, it kind of throws him off a little bit on game. Even though he was playing very well, he played very well, and he was getting to his spots and hitting shots.
Mm-hmm.
Physicality kind of throws him off a bit. The other thing, we got no help from the bench to a certain degree. Like our bench, let's look at it. Shed 3 points. Jacoby Walters 0.
20 between Sandro and Grady, and that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So we got no help from the bench. Darko, love Darko as a coach, but he kind of got a little coached a bit, because the game plan, if you realize it, and they said this, the game plan was they made the whole game plan basically around Brunson, stopping Brunson.
Yeah.
Right? When that game plan, when they didn't play Brunson a lot, right? And the Brunson was, I believe they said he was ill or he wasn't feeling well or something.
Yeah, he was questionable before the game, but he did play.
He did play.
Yeah.
And I think I think the Knicks coach picked up on something, because when Brunson was out there, because of his height, he was being a little bit exploited. And he said, you know what? Let's change it up. And I think when they changed it up, I don't know if Darko was not willing. I don't know if Darko had a second game plan, because I don't know if he had the game plan planned around Brunson. But we didn't have a second game plan when Brunson was not.
This is interesting. This is interesting because it is like natural for teams to game plan around Brunson because he is the engine of the team and he is kind of like their marquee guy. But he was sick yesterday. He played, but he wasn't totally effective. And what did they do? They started playing Kolek in the second half.
Yes.
And he got like 10 assists. He didn't score a lot, but he was being the engine and setting other guys up. And and I think that you're right. I think that in some ways, like the Raptors made a game plan for Brunson just by default because he's kind of the first person you start with on the team. Maybe you go to a Cat after that. And then you're not worrying about Anunoby and Bridges as much as you should. Because those guys are guys that can really hurt you like they did last night. And in some ways, maybe one of the learning experiences is like, look, we shouldn't be like doting on one single Nick too much with our defensive schemes. We need to kind of take care of all the guys that can be a threat. Because I feel like, I think that's where you're kind of leading to with what you're saying here. Because, like, you know, if you knew that Brunson was sick before the game, do we need to key on him as much? Well, he's the engine. He's the guy who can get a lot of other guys going. So maybe you can't fault them for having this strategy. But can you just in the game fast enough to know, hey, look, Bridges and Anunoby are killing us right now?
Right. And I think Brown picked up on that. I think Brown picked
Mike Brown.
Coach. Mike Brown. Mike Brown picked up on that because if you know the adjustment, because halftime is where the coaches make the adjustment, right?
Yeah.
So I think they picked up on that. Brunson's not 110%.
We were keeping the lead in the third, but they were starting to overtake us all as early as in the second, as far as like starting to catch up and eat the lead and stuff like that. So
we had the lead. We had the lead, but it wasn't a strong.
The momentum was changing. Yeah, we could feel that. I feel like also one of the weird things when we play the Knicks is OG and Scotty. There's a real true friendship.
I'm getting to that.
All right, I'll let you have your spot here. Go ahead. I want to hear it.
Oh boy, this is what. Before I get to that, if you notice, Brown basically said, "Listen, we're gonna let the role players. We're gonna let the role players. We're gonna match you with the role players. Let's see what your role players can do." And I think that's where they exploit us a lot. Now, we got to be honest. The Knicks, and this has been mentioned before because I was listening to you earlier, we got to be honest. The Knicks are on a completely different level than us. Raptor fans got to understand.
They're in a different mode as a franchise.
They're a different mode as a franchise. They're a win-now championship level
championship
franchise.
Or bust. And that's the thing. It's dangerous. It's very risky. If they don't get the championship, they're a failure.
Right. And we are basically, I know Raptor fans don't want to hear this, but we are a rebuilding team.
Yep.
We're rebuilding, right? Now, the thing that I didn't like about this game, it's not the win or losses to me necessarily. It's more about the effort. Yeah. I'm all about the effort. If you gave a good effort, like, hey, chop it up to
it went out the window by the end of the game.
There's a loser. Right. Now, getting back to what the Scotty thing, Scotty really kind of disappointed me at the end of the game, and I'll tell you why. At the end of the game, I don't know if the cameras picked it up, but at the end of the games, he was cockeyed and kikiing with Cat and OG Anunoby. Yeah. And I'm not talking about just basic. He was laughing, like belly laughing, and cheering it up. Now I know a lot of people will say, "Well, come on, they're just friends and all stuff." I'm sorry, man. That gives me vent. I guess I have PTSD.
I don't mind him palling around with Anunoby, but I don't like him palling around with Cat.
Yeah, but you know what it gets dark. Lex, you know what this gives me? You know, I have PTSD.
Vince Carter.
Vince Carter. I see. Yeah. You even said it before I said it.
Yeah, I have the same thing. I know what you're talking about. It's like him palling around with Paul Pierce after games and like.
Bro, You don't understand. When I was watching Vince Carter, this goes back to when I was watching Vince Carter as a Raptor.
Yeah.
You don't know how much that infuriated.
Oh, it made me mad too.
Out.
I'm with you on that. That's part of the reason why we're Raptor freaks, and part of the reason why we're friends and stuff is because I'm the same as you, man. That pissed me off back then too. For sure.
Man, when I saw that last night, it gave me so much PTSD.
Yeah.
Like, you got blown out. You got your skirt lifted by the New York Knicks, who punked you twice. Because, let's be honest, the Knicks punked us in the in-season tournament. They punked us.
Well, they beat us 3 times this year. The thing that I don't like, all right, piggybacking on what you're just saying about effort by the end of the game, normally the Raptors will play the whole 48 minutes all out, and they will not allow a rout to happen. And if they lose to the Knicks, that's fine, as long as maybe if you kept it close. But they ended up letting this game get out of hand, and it became like a rout by the end of the game. And that pissed me off. That made the fourth quarter like, all right, y'all are not able to score. You're stuck on 68 points. And all of a sudden they're taking off with their scoring, and they're getting up over 100, and we're just struggling to try and climb to get to 100. Something happened there. The engine ran out of gas. And that's not Raptors pride in basketball to try to just get routed right at the end. You got to go all out and try and keep up and make it at least a single-digit loss. It's tough.
You know what, Lex? We are on the same wavelength when it comes to thinking. I tell you, I can't even say nothing to what you just said. That's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly. Now, the last thing I want to say, I know. I don't agree with this. I heard this comment earlier, and you kind of alluded to it a little bit. And this is where we may disagree.
Okay.
I don't agree with I usually agree with the analogy coming back off a road trip. But I'm not buying this one because they had a couple days off.
Yeah.
It's not like they came back from a road trip and they had to play the next day.
Right.
They had a few days off. They had a few days to calibrate their system. And the Knicks played the night before.
Yeah.
Against the Kings.
Yeah.
A very grueling game. Brunson didn't. I watched that game.
Yeah.
I watched that game. Brunson didn't really play that much in the fourth quarter because they kind of had it pretty much in hand. But it was still a grueling game.
Well, this is
against the Kings, and then they came into our arena with 3 days, approximately 2 to 3 days rest, and punked us.
Well, this is the thing. I'm starting to think that this whole idea that a back-to-back is a disadvantage is not always true. I'm starting to think that sometimes when you have 2 nights in a row, the second night can actually, especially if you won the night before and you're not deflated, you could be coming in with extra momentum and actually be like more warmed up and ready to play in the game than sitting for 2 days, especially coming from a West Coast road trip. Like I said, these guys came back and they packed their bags and they were home all of a sudden. And like I said, that's natural, like human behavior when you get home from a long trip to let your ease down and just kind of be like, oh, I'm home. Scotty went to Monday Night Raw. They had amazing practice on Tuesday with the team, and they were having good vibes. They're also coming off a huge win for the season where they're kind of feeling like, ooh, all this stuff. So maybe there's a little bit more of a letting guard down than you want to admit, partly because they do have the rest days. They did just come home from being away for over a week, and they just had like a win over the champs.
Right. And that goes to the leadership of Scotty. Scotty's the leader of this team.
Yeah, and
I hate to say it, Lex, that kiki and cockeying at the end of the game and cheering it up and
this is what I'm wondering about, because like, all right, the energy between Scotty and Siakam and the energy between Scotty and OG is different. When we played the Pacers and Siakam, Scotty in some ways trolling Siakam. Like he seems like he's really like trying to play him hard and he's trying to really beat him but with OG, it's weird. It's kind of like,
thank you.
Are you letting OG just be your king, Scotty? And you're just like, no, OG, I'm in awe of him. He's so good. It's like, why aren't you taking it to OG like you're taking it to Siakam when we see this?
Lex, you're preaching to that. Listen, amen. I just have to say amen.
Because I noticed this energy is different in some ways. And I don't know.
I noticed it too.
And you know what? We'll get back to your original comment about saying there's 3 teams I hate us losing to. Well, what I think I've noticed is that these 3 teams you named are teams that Scotty has consistently been losing to in his career. And I don't like that. I don't like that. He should not be
that.
losing to Lakers all the time he plays them. He should not be losing to the Knicks for 11 straight. He should not be losing to the Celtics as much as he's lost to in the last couple years too.
Yeah, and it's about being punked too. The thing about me, I don't like to get punked.
Well, who cares about all that? That's just extra, like, you know, in some ways, some of that is immaturity and worrying about all that. A game is a game, and we can add extra layers of like, oh, we got punked and all this stuff. That's just adding more. That's unnecessary. That doesn't even really matter. It's just a loss. But the thing that I will say is, all right, as much as the Raptors have graduated this year to winning on the road, to having a good record, to being near the top of the Eastern Conference, they still have final tests that they have to beat down the road. And that is Boston. That is New York.
A long way to go.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a long way, but it's the stuff they still need to do to get to show that mile markers of how they progressed and gotten better. You know?
Yeah. And it has to do with maturity too, because I think sometimes when we get these big wins, we get that feeling sometimes like, oh, we're there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know, we poke our chest out a little bit.
Yeah.
But sometimes we gotta listen, we still got a long way. And Raptor fans gotta understand
it's a natural balance of winning and losing and not getting too big headed when you do win, like we won on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then like also like not get into in the doldrums when you're losing too much too. It's like a real balance. You have to be really even keeled. And these guys know that and they're trying to do it. Yeah, it'll be interesting when we get to that point where Scotty's consistently hopefully beating the Knicks and the Celtics more often. Then we'll know, wow, okay, this is something that's different. And thank goodness we're finally beating these guys again. You know?
Yeah, look at OG. OG had like one of the best dunks probably in the game. And he got right back on defense. He was like, you know, he wasn't.
Well, that's OG, man. That's OG. We know that from the 6 years of him being on our team and the amazing things he did for us. All right, last point, infamous.
Right, the last point is listen. I get upset. I get upset about the Knicks, Lakers, and Boston. Those are the games the other games.
I'd throw Philly in there too, but we've been beating Philly, so
yeah. I'm going to say this, Lex. If there's two teams that we need to avoid in the playoffs, and the Knicks are one, I know people are going to disagree with me on this, but I think if we do face them in the playoffs,
it'll be ugly, at least this year.
It'll be 5 games. It might be 5
It'd be tough. It'd be a tough matchup, but it would be a good learning matchup. That's what I would say.
Right. I think we can beat Boston. I think we can, if we match up against Boston, I think we can. I think we'll give them a good run.
I think Boston's going to fall off more as the season goes on. And Tatum said just in the last couple of days he's not coming back this year. So
there you go. Yeah. There you go. So on that note, I don't want to say this, man. Don't give up hope. We're still rebuilding.
Oh yeah.
And Raptor fans got to understand this. Tailor your expectations. We're still in a rebuilding mode.
Yep.
And you got to figure out what the expectations are as Raptor fans in your own brain.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even for us to make expectations. What's that?
I'll tell you what my expectation is quickly, and I'll let you go because I know you got a lot of things to do. My expectation is second round.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's my expectation for this year. Anything beyond the second round is gravy to me.
Yeah.
That's why
I would even say, like, look, if we're looking at we were 30-win team last year, we didn't get the playoffs. Making the playoffs is a big deal, and especially if we make the playoffs with a home court advantage, that's a huge deal.
Facts.
That once you get in there, even if we got the home court advantage and we lose in the first round, well, it's a young core, and they just got their first taste of playoffs.
Correct.
So that's part of it.
That's it. That's all I got to say. Lex, love you.
Infamous. Love you too. Fans. Thank you so much for the call. I look forward to your calls on reaction days.
So do I.
And I hope that you have a fantastic day. And I'm going to spit some bars on the way out for Infamous here. Let's go, Raptors. Infamous is calling. We're going to come and get that. And they won't be no stalling because the Raptors going to get W's down the road. And Knicks are going to look like ugly ass toads. Woo!
Thank you, Lex.
You're welcome, man. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Awesome, man. Awesome. We got our second call in, and it was the infamous 6. So good. So good. So good. Thank you for the super chat. I'm not sure who gave that super chat. I'm going to come see who you are real quick. Let me see. I'm going to go back down here and see who did that. Jeffrey Jen, thank you for the super chat. Scotty Barnes is when your mom says, we have OG Anunoby at home. If this is a Knicks fan and he just wants to throw a $4.99 in there, it's all good. No, we love Scotty and we love OG too. Listen, the brokering of peace between Knicks Nation and Raptors Nation was short and brief after the trade when we saw beloved players go to other teams. But I hope that Knicks fans can still enjoy Emmanuel Quickley, Eastern Conference Player of the Week, and a 40-point bag dropped on Steph Curry and the Warriors, and the win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, and RJ's great success this season while he's been healthy, and his winning effect on our team. So either way, Jeffrey, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. And I like this. This is kind of a creative crack right here. Scotty Barnes is when your mom says we have OG Anunoby at home. I get that. All right. That's a creative burn, and I won't be upset about it, especially because he gave me money. All right, let's get back into the chat comments right here. G Sam, we need an ISO score. Okay, I read that already. OKC won a chip with SGA playing ISO a lot, but also passing. It's about balance. Yes. And this is something we got to figure out. Brandon is not totally the best at passing out the double team. And I've said in the past that I feel like he needs to go earlier because he's good enough that he thinks he can beat the double team and he'll let it install right around him. And then at that point, it's too late. You don't have the option to get the ball out of there because they're covering you strong. And you're not as good at passing out the double team when it's on you and it's set. You're okay when that motion's coming towards you, Brandon. And that's when you should be probably throwing it. And that's probably what SGA learned in his adjustment period as the number one scorer and what he does. So that's the problem is like once they install the double or triple team around Brandon Ingram, his ability to get the ball out cleanly from that situation is not very good. And he's almost forced to take the shot and do the isolation move at that point. So there's some balance in there. G is exactly right. He's got to figure out. And I'd say it's recognizing the double coming earlier to get that ball away from faster because that goes along with the Darko offensive philosophy better. Don't wait, Brandon. Don't think just because they're coming, you can just beat them because there's two on them on you, and you can do it. But what is the best move at that point? The fact that the defense is shifted and there's somebody open somewhere. That's the best move at that point. Right there. Kesper's here. Good to see the fact checker. You learn more from the losses than from the victories. Just another day for the players and coaching staff to figure things out to be a real contender and eventually the champs. I love it. That's exactly right. The tape session today is going to be very, very productive. Trust me. It's going to be very, very productive. If there's some holes or deficiencies or lack of effort or things that happened last night, there will be teaching moments today. Teaching moments for Scotty, Colin, and the rest of them, for sure. Wayne's here. Good morning to Wayne. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Point number 1, Knicks are a better team now. Point number 2, Mark Rich changed the game early when he charged him for a foul and negated his points when he was hot. You're talking about Mark Davis. Mark Davis changed the game early when he charged him for a foul and negated his points when he was hot. Talking about which player? I think I know what you're talking about. I mean, that's a classic Raptor move the refs do against the Raptors is if you get like an and one or anything like that, no, it's side out. You weren't shooting the foul. There's all kinds of different ways they can do it. Let's see. Number 3, Mamu and IQ doubted their shot. They weren't dialed in and they weren't as confident and they were off. Yeah, I can see all that, Wayne. Good to see you this morning. G saying Scotty, though, gets passive at times. If we want to be honest, we need someone that wants to take over, win or lose. They will figure it out, but they need both styles. There's been small signs that Scotty's ready more and more to do this, but it goes against his mindset and who he is as a person in his life. He's very giving, and he finds joy in other people's success. And that's the problem. In some ways, we want him to be more selfish. And we've been crying out a couple over the years about the possibilities of Scotty being more dominant and just calling his own number and doing things. I don't know. There's got to be a balance here too, G, right? And I think it's at the pace that Scotty's comfortable. And we'll see it more and more as time goes on. I think it's in some ways part of it's his confidence and growing as an NBA player, and his place in the league will allow him to feel like he's allowed to do this more. It may be in some ways he's humble and he's like, I don't want to be the focal point of the offense and I want to spread the ball around. It's tough. It's tough because in some ways you got a very opposite problem with most NBA players where they're too selfish. And we have a guy who may be too unselfish. It's kind of an interesting problem going it that way. Randolph's here. Good morning to Randolph Phillips. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. Life has parts that fit together that makes life run smoothly. When those parts are misaligned, it creates problems. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Alignment's really good. Alignment with the natural world and what the God, the creator, has created in this world is the best kind of alignment. And society isn't totally aligned with that right now. And some reasons that's why we're getting earthquakes and tsunamis and hurricanes and droughts and all that kind of stuff. In some ways, it's like the creator, God above, will create things that will balance things out when there's a misalignment. Yeah, that's on a big, huge scale I'm talking about right now. We can talk about it on an individual scale with your own body. If you eat certain things that don't agree with your body, you will get misaligned in your digestive system. And that could be a major problem. You know, we can talk about it from a biological standpoint, but also from a spiritual standpoint, or maybe even just a functional, practical standpoint in your life. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Rap Freak families, where may we all find better alignment biologically, spiritually, and physically and mentally. All that, yeah, and practically in our life. That's right. Randolph's saying, Lex, I think that other players have got to learn to play at the level of Brandon Ingram. This was a problem with Scotty that created turnovers. High IQ players are needed. I mean, we've talked a lot about Brandon's isolation today and Scotty being more aggressive. I don't know how to add on top of this right now. Mr. Quasimodo saying Knicks Glazers are not welcomed here. You know, some of them are. Milbester comes in here and he's a humble, nice Knicks fan. He's our Knicks representative for this channel. And he's a cool dude. We don't mind Milbester. So if he's here today, we'll talk to him. We'll see how he's doing. And Knicks fan dropped me a super chat. It's like he wanted to get that comment in. He wanted me to read an insult. I didn't think that was that bad. I think that OG and Scotty are very different players. And in some ways, Scotty has a whole realm to him that OG will never touch in his career. He really doesn't. And in some ways, OG, I mean, I would say this. OG has such a precise way of who he is, and he operated this whole time when he was developing and building up his game and who he was as a player in the NBA as a Raptor. And you know, the Knicks get the spoils of the development years in the Raptors, and we saw the way he went from heavily doting on defense to building his offensive game in more recent years. And I can't help but be proud of him to see him shoot high percentages, to mix three-point shooting with drives to the basket and being aggressive. You know, the classic OG steals the ball and goes down and gets the points and they take the lead by one. In some ways, I was like, man, I remember when you do that for us. I remember when you do that for us. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Wayne saying BI is predictable. BI needs to adjust. However, Lex's vision of how he should be used makes perfect sense. I don't think plays should be run for him. Just have him as a roaming assassin next game. It may be very fun for Brandon because he has to be more creative to find the ways he's going to score. And there's some plays where things get broken and Brandon is out by himself on the court and he's just getting a loose ball all of a sudden. And what is his first inclination? It's to put the ball on the floor and take steps and long stride to get as close to the basket and attack the rim with a finger roll or a dunk. And I like that. I feel like that kind of opportunity would be more presented in front of him with what we just said and what Wayne is reiterating here, that if we don't dote on him in isolation setups and we let him just be a part of, you know, we want to get the ball to him. If he's open, we want to prioritize him to get the ball. And he is like still considered the number one offensive option on the Raptors. It's just maybe we're more stealth about it. Maybe we're a little more stealth about it. I like that. I like that. Wayne likes it too. That's right. Kesper is saying the internet fandom nation are clearly driven by the corporate direction, which loves to sell players down the river for a championship. They're going to harp on the players win or lose because they're selfish. Yeah, this stuff with Giannis right now is ridiculous to me. It's almost like the NBA just turned on a media machine switch to say, well, Giannis is going to be traded and it's just going to happen. But then in the fine print, when you look at the whole thing, it says may not be traded, subject to the Bucks front office and their timeline of how they want to do things. It's like they really want to make things seem immediate and like this is going to happen tomorrow. Giannis is going to get moved, but there's no guarantee of this. And this could be all hot air. And this could be boy who cries wolf once again, as far as Giannis and trade talks with Milwaukee. I really feel like this is the case again. First of all, he's hurt. In some ways, people are going to try and trade for him right now. He's not going to help you this year, at least not right away. And when he does come back, he's going to need time to adjust to be on your team. So is teams trying to get him? Are they getting him for this year to try and make a championship this year? Probably not. Second of all, Milwaukee is very much trying to fleece people that are going to deal with them when it comes to Giannis. They're not going to be taking a half-ass, shitty-ass Vince Carter deal like we did with Rob Babcock. No, they're going to take the best players from the other team, and they may take multiple, like I said. For example, if they're talking to us, they want Scotty. And there's not anything else they're going to take in return for Giannis Antetokounmpo than Scotty Barnes. So, just the fact that, the level of what Giannis is and what Milwaukee may be demanding has been something in the past that has screwed things up for him getting traded. And once again, I really do feel like this is the NBA just needing something to talk about. This is the NBA trying to make people interested. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen to Giannis, and just making a lot of noise. You could talk to Giannis, and they're saying ambivalent things like Giannis is finally open to possibly leaving the Bucks. But what does that really say? What does that mean? He's finally kind of open to it? That doesn't mean he wants to get traded. That doesn't mean he's asking for a trade. And that doesn't mean the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to trade him. So it's just a lot of hot air and bullshit. I feel like it's just space on the internet that they have to fill with content. And the whole buzz about Giannis and the trade stuff is the same as every day. It's just they're overinflating it all of a sudden right now, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting. And a lot of it may be corporate direction to do that, to make the product interesting and fresh. We'll tease a Giannis trade, but what if it never comes? And I don't think it's likely to happen at the trade deadline. I think that Milwaukee their front office has kind of said, we don't care about doing the deal with Giannis now. We're not in a rush. We can wait until the offseason if we have to move him. And the schedule with his contract and the way things are going, that's exactly true. They're not under the gun to do anything with Giannis. So once again, you got to read between the lines, see what's bullshit and fluff, and actually kind of reason it out with critical thinking. Because, they just want shit to talk about right now, They just want shit to talk about. That's right. Yeah, obviously it's worse when you lose a game, but it's still bad when we win. Yeah, toxicness online is not going anywhere. And it's up to each of us as individuals to take ourselves out of the sludge. It's up to you if you want to go down there, get on your toxic radioactive suit and go and wade around in that bullshit on Reddit and social media and different places. You go ahead, but realize that what you're doing, and you don't have to. Honestly, in some ways, it's like let that whole ecosystem be somewhere in the shallow depths of hell, and we'll stay up here above ground, and you guys can go and slum down in that toxic sludge if you feel like it on Twitter or whatever social media platform you're on there with. That's right. That's right. Mr. Quasimodo's saying, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I don't know. We're just talking here. Let's go. Neil's here. Good to see Blackhawk. Thank you for supporting the channel. We can't be blaming a West Coast trip when they had 3 days off and the Knicks did a back-to-back. The team still has room to grow, and we have acknowledged that. They are not championship ready until they mature. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with most of this. They didn't have 3 days off. They only had 2 days off. They had Monday and Tuesday off. So that's 2 days. And like I said, I've already made my argument for why this could be this phenomena. If it doesn't make sense to you and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. They played last night and had to travel in customs last night to come from New York to Toronto. That's fine. But I'm also seeing a pattern the last 2 years where the team that's on the back-to-back sometimes wins the second night of the back-to-back because their kinetics and their momentum and their energy is high. And they're just kicking ass. There was a lot of games last year where the Raptors would lose the first night of the back-to-back and then win the second night of the back-to-back. I don't know. The whole theory about back-to-backs and having a disadvantage because you're the team on the back-to-back, I don't know if it's totally true all the time. And that's what we got to stop doing, especially if it's toxically like, oh, we had the rest days and they came in off a back-to-back and we lost. We're such losers. Maybe the science and the data and what it points to as far as this phenomenon with back-to-backs and winning and losing isn't so clear-cut as the team that's on the second night of the back-to-back is going to be losing for sure. Because there are other factors. And like I said, maybe sitting around too long, continuing momentum from a good win the night before can come in and buoy your spirits. And instead, we played on Sunday night. They played on Tuesday night. And they came in on Wednesday night and beat us. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to look at it. And I'm just saying the data is not totally, it's not adding up to like a narrative that like back-to-backs are bad for you completely. I know that sounds crazy what I'm saying, but I'm trying to figure this out, man. Kesper's saying game-wise, though, they need to figure out how to not fall apart when good three-point shooting teams start making a barrage. This has happened versus the Celtics, the Lakers, Sixers now when they were on back-to-back. This is exactly right here. This is exactly right. I see this because the biggest losses we're having is against teams that are very adept at three-point shooting, and we are cold. And we can go look at the team stats for this right now, and it will point to exactly what Kessler is saying. Because, look, we only made 7 threes last night. They made 14 threes. How the hell did the Knicks beat us by 27 points last night when they were losing for most of the game up until 4 minutes to go in the third? Well, there was a big separation as far as the shooting percentages, as far as 50% from the field for them, 38% for us. And also on the down low, we need to give them credit for being scrappy and manufacturing 11 more shots than us, field goal attempts. So 38% shooting, as Darko said, we're going to make 20 turnovers and have 38% shooting. We're going to have a hard time winning, is what Darko said. 27% from the three-point range, and meanwhile, they're doubling up on us, 14 threes to our 7, and they shot 37%. Free throws were fine. We got a lot of free throw attempts. In some ways, that was not part of the ref manipulation. 29 free throw attempts for us, 25 made, 86%. That department's fine. We did get out rebounded, even though we lost. We missed more shots. We should technically, actually, that does make sense that they make the rebounds more, 48 to 43. Assist to turnover ratio is a huge indicator here. Now, they have almost 2-to-1, 32 assists to 18 turnovers for the Knicks. But we're straight up 1-for-1, and this never happens this year. And that is a symbol of the Knicks defense being physical and messing us up and getting steals and messing with us around screens is the 20 turnovers to the 20 assists. We had a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio last night. And we've had 2-to-1, 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratios regularly this year. So the Knicks got a lot of success from making us turn the ball over. And us only getting 20 assists, that's a symbol of stagnant offense also. Darko said we only took 1 3 in the third or something like that. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Fast break points even. And they dominated the paint, 60 to 38 in the points in the paint on the team stats from last night. Just going over the box score a little bit more. Let's see. Chat GPT. No, we're not David W. from the Raptors 905 chat. I blocked him finally. I'm sick of this Chat GPT writing motherfucker named David W. in the 905 chats. He's just annoying, man. It's not like he helps anything. He comes in and he just writes updates on the score. He's like, it looks like the Raptors 905 are probably going to lose playing this bad in the third. I can't stand David at this point. I've been watching him for a couple of years. Like he's been in the Raptors 905 chat with us, but for some reason he's just getting on my nerves now. I think it's because he's trying to talk to us with Chat GPT. And I'm like, David, don't do this, bro. You're not a human being the way you're talking and writing out your comments. You're obviously using Chat GPT to comment to us in Raptors 905 chats. And I want to talk to a real person. I want to hear your real opinion and you write it out. If you're somebody who has a hard time writing and you're using it to help yourself, okay, maybe I can get into that because that's helpful and accessibility. But also at the same time, everybody's copy and pasting and using Chat GPT and using AI to make art or write stuff. You're not talented. You are using other people's stuff to make what you're doing. You know, AI is not art. I'm sorry. If there's a dude making Raptors art and you think you're cool because you're making art for the Raptors through AI, you're not. Your shit looks like shit, is what I'm gonna say. And you're not a talented artist. That's my stance on that right there. Neil saying the Raptors have been clear. They want to get to the playoffs and they are on track to get there. Forget about the Knicks because being in the top 4 means they're not our first round opponents. Yeah, that's true. There is some ways where things could shuffle around by the end of the year where we do line up with them as the first round opponent. But if I go look at the standings right now, the Raptors are being in 4th right now, tied with the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are on a 5-game winning streak, and we have the same record as them all of a sudden, 29-20 for both those teams, both 7 games behind Detroit. But we have the tiebreaker over Cleveland because we swept them for the season. We beat them 3-0 for the whole year, and we're done with them. We won't play them again. So that's why we're above them in the standings. So if we played in the first round, if the playoffs started tomorrow, we'd play Cleveland in the first round and we'd have home court advantage because we're the 4th seed and they're the 5th seed. So that's interesting. This is why a lot of this shit matters, but this could shuffle up. I mean, the Sixers, the Celtics, the Knicks, we're all in the mix. We're all right there in the mix. And well, if the playoffs start tomorrow, it's us against Cleveland in the first round with home court advantage. That's right. That's right. Kesper's saying, sorry, the character limit makes it hard to elaborate in one message. I know, and I apologize for that. It's YouTube, and in some ways, it's like all the other platforms. You got a character limit. I appreciate you be diligent and writing it all out. And I don't think anybody's using Chat GPT here, Mr. Quasimodo. I don't think Kesper is. I think that he's just very good at elaborating his points and writing it all out. And I appreciate that verbose literacy. It was saying that makes it see right there. Bryce is saying F the Knicks. All right, Bryce Lawson, you want to dunk? We can do that real quick. It's just a real easy one. Bryce can come in and say F the Knicks. He's getting his second dunk. He's got the Corey Joseph Pickering 6 right there. We had that game. We had the lead with 7 minutes left in the third just to get outscored 60-20 for the remainder of the game. Yeah, it sucks. We dropped off. But let's think about the game we lost, the knockout round to the Knicks in the in-season tournament. Let's think about games in the past where, you know, there was a game last year against the Knicks where we were like, wow, we hung with the Knicks for the first quarter, and then they blew us out for the last 3 quarters. So in some ways, is this progress that we were beating the Knicks pretty much almost till the end of the third quarter, and then everything fell apart for the last quarter? Yeah, maybe that's better because instead of falling apart in the first quarter or in the first half and getting routed for the rest of the game, this is progress because there's more of the 48 minutes of quality play out there, but not the full 48. And yes, things did fall apart. And yes, this was a game that got away from us, according to Brandon Ingram, for sure. But I would say this, Bryce, that the Raptors 905 dropped the ball even worse than the Raptors last night in their game against Osceola Magic. They had a very good chance to beat them with the last 4 minutes to go. It was very, very close, but they fumbled at the end of the game. Let me go look at that game real quick, and we'll do the stars of the game for 905 versus Osceola Magic. The Raptors 905 have now lost 4 games in a row, and they, for the month of January 2026, are even 5 for 5, 5-5. And that sucks, man. After having undefeated months in the months before, both technically November and December were undefeated months for the 905. They didn't lose a single game except for the championship game against Mo Bamba and the Salt Lake City Stars. But this month, they're 500. And it's injuries. It's the Raptors injuries, not the 905's injuries totally. It's the Raptors injuries drawing people away. Alas, A.J. Lawson and Elijah Martin returned to the lineup for the Raptors 905 in Osceola last night, but they lost by 9 points. And, well, they had their chances in the fourth. They just didn't execute, and they did not make the points happen. My stars of the game for last night, my number one star is David Roddy. He's been very fantastic recently. He has an all-around kind of play. He's been one of the foundational pieces for the 905 weathering the scant roster they've had this month. 16 points in 35 minutes on 6 of 10 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3. He made his only free throw. 11 rebounds for David Roddy and a double-double. 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 1 block, even, not a plus or a minus in the game last night. My second star of the game last night is young Julian Reese. He added another whole dimension to his game last night with a ton of blocks. And he's gotten blocks here and there, but Juju Reese has gotten the start a couple games in a row. Olivier Sarr has been out the last 2 games, and Julian has started at center. In 35 minutes, the younger brother of Angel Reese, 10 points on 3 of 7 shooting, 2 of 3 from free throw, 12 rebounds. So he had 10 points, 12 rebounds, a double-double for him, 5 assists, which is fantastic, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, along with 4 blocks. That's 6 stocks for Julian. He was a plus 12. So he had a real winning effect on the team. And even the Osceola Magic's announcer was calling out the old schoolness of Julian's game. He said that move that he just made in the post looked like a move from 1986. He is. He's a throwback big, like Charles Oakley from the 80s is like. He's like Charles Oakley. There's a lot of similarities to Charles Oakley with Julian Reese. And that's why he's a keeper, Bobby Webster. And you need to keep him moving up the Raptors organization to the Toronto Raptors. Trust me, he's somebody we're going to see in a Raptors jersey at some point, guys. Tyreek Key off the bench is my 3rd star of the game. 30 minutes, 19 points on 7 of 15 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, made both his free throws, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 1 block, a plus 5. So, yeah, a couple of the guys that had winning effects on the game last night, Roddy, Reese, and Key. The rest of these guys, though, was tough. We did have 7 guys in double digits, but it was really tough sledding for a lot of them. Elijah Martin was an honorable mention. He got 21 points in 30 minutes on 8 of 17 shooting. He was 1 for 6 from 3, 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 turnovers, 2 steals and a block, -7. Jarkel Joyner, 26 minutes, 10 points, 3 of 14 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3, 2 of 3 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, +2. AJ Lawson, oh my gosh, really off. Very high volume. This was old Long Island Nets AJ Lawson that showed up last night. He was a -23 in the game last night. So AJ was really bad in different ways, just out there in the really bad moments for the 905 last night. 29 minutes for AJ, 14 points on 5 of 16 shooting. He was 1 of 9 from 3, 2 of 3 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, and a steal for AJ Lawson. Off the bench, I'm really disappointed in Tyson Degenhart. This is a time where he should be stepping up and scoring way more because he has that capability, but he has been a dud in the last stretch of games in this losing streak. He could have stepped up and done so much more. 13 minutes for Tyson, 2 points on 1 of 2 shooting. He missed his only free throw, which is crazy because he's a sharpshooter. And sharpshooters should not miss free throws. Jamison Battle, Grady Dick, or Tyson Degenhart. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, and a block, a -14 for Tyson. AJ Hoggart has slowed down in recent games. 23 minutes, 12 points on 4 of 8 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, 1 of 2 from free throws, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a -5. And then Patrick McCaw coming off the bench, back out of the starting lineup, 17 minutes, 5 points on 2 of 3 shooting, a -15. Just a tough game for the 905, and they had it right there. They could have won this game, but they didn't execute at the end of the game in the right kinds of ways, and the Osceola Magic took over and won that game, and they are the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference of the G League, and we are not, and they have an 11-3 record. We have a 10-5 record. If we had not lost these 2 games to them, we would be the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. So it is what it is. On the other side, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Alex Morales. 30 points on 13 of 20 shooting with 12 rebounds, a +6. Really, really good. Lester Quinones had a strong game once again, also 22 points on 6 of 11 shooting. And off the bench, Philip Wheeler with 23 points for the Osceola Magic on 7 of 16 shooting. So, yeah, they got some big contributions from 3 guys. And then we got 7 guys getting around 10 points is kind of how it went down for the 905. Their next game, I believe, is this week, is in February. So they're done for the month. And I think they're back home finally. And they'll be in Toronto and Mississauga for their next game. So, yeah, let's keep going. Let's see. Mr. Quasimodo's saying playoff tickets are expensive. Laugh out loud. Which playoffs? You mean for the Blue Jays or for the Raptors? You know, they can be expensive to go to playoff games for sure. For sure. G saying, Isaac saying, dunk for G for keeping things positive. Raptors on the interwebs. Time is our friend. There you go. All right, we're gonna give a dunk to original Raptor Freak trivia champion G, who got the JYD signed jersey. Original reward for that. He's got the Amir Johnson 15. Look at that. You got that 15, that iconic number for Amir Johnson. I love it. I love it. I love it. Seymour saying this in the words of Dana, 2-finger salute to the Knicks. Yeah, I like that too. We miss Canadian Dana. I'm not totally sure where she's been. I think she still watches the show later in the day. Either way, Canadian Dana, salute to you, a longtime Raptors freak and supporter of this channel. We appreciate you. W Lex, thank you, man. Mr. Quasimodo saying, what the fuck are you guys talking about? You want to see your team lose? Laugh out loud. The priorities of a bandwagoner is insane in Toronto. No, it's not that we want to see the team lose. It's just that we have an educated opinion that the rebuild of a roster and a team takes time and goes through stages. Kind of like that space shuttle when it goes up in the air. It drops off parts as it goes up higher, right? I always wonder where those parts go. Do they disintegrate or do they land on the earth and like hurt people? I don't know. Either way. But yeah, there's stages to this. And it's not necessarily we want lose or we're like okay with losing. It's just that, you know, you got to have a mature view on this and understand in any sport, there's winning and losing. And to win, you have to understand both sides of the yin and the yang. That's it. That's it right there. Yeah. She's saying no one wants to see the team lose, but you learn from losses, especially a young team that lacks experience together. Failing forward is what OKC did until they won a chip. It wasn't overnight. There you go. I like that too. I like that too. No, we're not lovable losers that loved losing. We've been through the losing years. We've done this channel for 4 years now, through all the years that we've had since Scotty got drafted. We've been here every single game and reacted every single game. And some days it's dark. Let's just put it that way, Mr. Quasimodo. This season's been very nice and easier to cover for this channel. Trust me, because we're winning way out more often. But yeah, a 30 win season last year, a 25 win season the year before. Those were a lot of days where I come in here and react to games and just try and pick up the pieces and try and help Raptors fans not, I would always say, get off the ledge. You know, there is a little bit of counseling on this channel for Raptors Nation on how to take the schedule wins and losses wise. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Mr. Quasimodo is saying, weren't you glazing the Knicks? Listen, I have to be fair. I've not been glazing the Knicks too much. It's just that we have to say the truth. The Knicks are a championship or bust team, and they are further along with their veteran knowledge and know-how and how to win to get a championship than the Raptors right now because we're younger. We're a younger team on average. They have players that average around almost 30 years old as their core, and we have players that average around 24 years old as our core. So they are older and they are further along with their knowledge and their veteranship in this league, and they are in a position with their salary cap and who they are that they are championship or bust. And that is a lot more pressure on them than it is on us to a degree. Because in some ways, if they don't get a lot of success this year, there'll be a lot of calls to change the team a bit and dismantle it a bit because they have to pay so much money. If it's not winning, it's a failure. So that's the same thing for Cleveland too. Those two teams in particular. Boston's not in the same boat, and neither is Detroit, because Detroit's like us. They're a young core that's rising up and sitting on top. Boston's on and off year without Jason Tatum, so they can make a lot of excuses for not being completely successful this year. New York and Cleveland cannot. Those two teams are maxed on their salary caps, and they are paying to win. And if they don't win, it's a failure, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Good game saying, what are you talking about? And Quasimodo's saying, come on, chat. It's about the fans this time, not guys like us. I don't know. I'm not sure what Mr. Quasimodo is talking about exactly here. We talk about Raptors Nation. We can talk about Raptors fans. We can talk about Raptors freaks. These are all different contingencies. Some of them are within the same contingency, but you know, Raptors Nation as a big whole is the whole group. You know, Raptors fans are a part of it, and the Raptors freaks are within the Raptors fans, but we're a whole other level too. So there's different levels to this. That's right. That's right. Bryce is saying, not gonna lie, Mr. Quasimodo is throwing me off. Right? What's going on? I don't know. Either way, bless you, Mr. Quasimodo. We love you, bro. And you're awesome. Don't worry about it, man. G saying this, I don't like the Knicks at all, but I am realistic in that they are ahead of us in progress. They are older and have played together more. Raptors will dominate them in time, but being realistic helps. Exactly. We're not, in some ways, we have to respect that they've beaten us 3 times this year, that we have not beaten them this year. In some ways, we have to respect that to a degree. We really do. Mr. Quasimodo is saying this. I actually want to see the Raptors win. I do too. I wanted to win last night. I didn't like what happened last night. I wanted to win too. There's no questioning whether we wanted to win against the Knicks last night. It's just that also we're fans and we understand our power isn't to win the game. It's the players that win the game, right? It's the players. That's right. You can't beat OKC and then lose to the Knicks at a home game like that. Yeah, you can. This is the NBA. Different nights, different things. It just happens. What? It's just linear? We just continue to go just because we beat the champs on Sunday? No, this season's ups and downs. And where's the next level after beating the champs on Sunday? It's just like we're going to pencil us in. We're going to win the Larry O'Brien. Come on, let's be realistic here. Come on now. We can't win everything. And in some ways, this game was a scheduled loss. I looked at the schedule before the season even started, Mr. Quasimodo. And I pinpointed this game that we played last night as a problem game that they're probably going to lose. Why would I think that so far ahead before we even played Atlanta on the open night? Because I know how they build the NBA schedule and how trap games are set. And that was a trap game on the down low. The first game back from a West Coast road trip is one of the hardest games to win at home. Just so you know, this is historically true statistically for all the NBA teams, not just for the Raptors. You go on a long road trip and you're away and you come back, and sometimes the first game back is hard. You can ask the superfan Monique Lawrence. She knows all about this phenomenon. In fact, she has espoused on this to the point where she could probably teach a PhD level course on the phenomena of the long road West Coast road trip coming home and how you lose the first game back. It's a scheduled loss, and they want to have the Knicks playing us as the team we come back to because that's by design. Just so you know, that's by design. That's right. Jet lag. I don't know if it's jet lag exactly. I mean, they will do crazy shit like they'll make us do the West Coast road trip around daylight savings time, where all of a sudden, not only are they getting screwed up by West Coast to East Coast time changes, they're getting screwed up because we are either falling back for this or springing forward with the daylight savings changes with the hour. They will even implement that into our schedule in years past to make it really disorienting about the time of day you're playing. You know, you play East Coast teams all on the East Coast the whole time. 7:30. It's in your natural circadian rhythm. Oh, we're gonna play at 7:30, 7:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, just right around that time. But you go out west, all of a sudden you're playing at like 10:30 or 11, and that's different and later. And then the afternoon games, oh my gosh, that could really screw you up because it's a different time of the day than your body is used to. If anybody travels from the East Coast to the West Coast, you feel it when you first get there. You're like, whoa, it's not as dark as I thought it would be right now. And it feels like it should be really dark right now. I know that's how I felt when I went to Seattle. It's just like, holy crap. It's like, it's still light out. My body's telling me I should be going to bed, but it's still the middle of the afternoon. You know, it's stuff like that. Bryce is saying it's the NBA. Every team can lose to every team. Exactly. We could lose to the shittiest team in the league. The Oklahoma City Thunder can lose to us, and they can lose to Indiana too. They can lose to Indiana too. That's right. None of us want the Raptors to lose. That's right. That's right. All right. He's saying, yo, I'm timing myself out. I can't with this home game BS. Okay. Either way, man, if this is your limit, Mr. Quasimodo, nobody's holding you here, and you have freedom of rights to do what you want. I hope you'll come back. This seems like a silly reason to get out, but either way, we love you, and we hope you return in later chats down the road. Maybe when we win the next game. G's saying setting yourself up to expect every win leads to anger for no damn reason. You can get worked up over loss. Me, I look forward to how they fix their issue to beat them next time. Yeah, and Kesper's saying what he said, and Seymour's up in that too. Yeah, that's what Darko said. It's like we're going to get great film from this, and we're going to learn from it, and we're going to be better for it. You know, there's stuff that happened last night that you'll look at. I know it's embarrassing. I know we all want to beat the Knicks, Trust me, we did. Trust me, we did. And well, when we do beat them again, finally, it's going to be sweet. Trust me, when we finally do. And I hope we beat them. This is part of the thing. It's like if we look at the Knicks games this season, there's 5 of them. We've played 3 of them now. We got to look at the progress each time we play them and where we're building as a team as the season goes on. And who knows, in the 4th or 5th game that we play the Knicks, maybe we beat them in one of those games. We end this winning streak they've been on against us. And we feel like we've gotten better over the season because we couldn't beat them in the first 3 games of the season, but we beat them in the 4th game of the season. Or we beat them in the 5th game of the season, right near the end of the season. Because they're like the 2nd game to the end of the season. Where they're not the last game of the season, but they're the game just before the last game. That's the last time we played them this year. So when we play them in the 2nd to last game of the season, well, let's see how good we are then and how healthy we are and whether we beat their ass then. Because that's a sure sign of progress and getting better and moving along with what we're doing here, rebuilding our team. You know what I'm saying? That's right. That's right. Kesper is saying, hopefully they don't try to use the home game, road game result and the mid crowd as a ploy to move our franchise back to the States. No, they won't do this. There's dangers for our team, but they don't have anything to do with like financials. There's nothing to do with financials that'll make us lose our team. Our team makes money. Our team is very successful economically, and it's one of the strongest brands in the league too. The Toronto Raptors have a very strong brand in the league right now. And the only reason why we would have to move the States is because of something stupid like a political conflict. Is maybe because of like the idiot in Washington, D.C. That would be the only thing that would screw things up with us as far as our team having to move. And I don't see that. I will tell you this. I have a contingency plan just in case something goes screwy in this world that I'm going to pivot very heavily to the CBL. And I'll become a very big fan of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. In fact, straight goods on Canadian goods, Canadian Elite Basketball League. It's our own league here in Canada with Canadian teams. And I hope you'll watch it this summer. It's a very good product. It's so much fun. I go to games myself. And also on that note, Cover Bridge. Cover Bridge is a potato chip company here in Canada out of New Brunswick. And, well, their story is interesting. They started out with just a little small thing. And, well, it's been in 4 generations of the family in Heartland, New Brunswick. And they did it because there was a very famous long covered bridge in that part of the world. They call it the Covered Bridge Ships because there's a landmark. It's the longest covered bridge in the world. And, well, they have 500 acres of potatoes growing out there in New Brunswick now to make these Canadian chips, grown and sold to Canadians here. If you don't have Covered Bridge at your grocery store or convenience store in your neighborhood, ask for it and tell the person to buy them here because this is the best chips you can buy now. Forget Frito-Lay. Forget all this. These are Canadian chips, and I've got the salt and vinegar, and I've got the dill pickle because we're a little salty, like Mr. Quasimodo right now about the loss. So if you love chips, these are kettle cooked chips, highest quality rustled potato chips, potatoes. You can buy these at most stores around Ontario. And I'm saying Covered Bridge is the one to go. It's one of my favorite sponsors of the channel. They don't sponsor me. I don't get money from them. I'm just putting them on blast. Have you ever seen a Covered Bridge commercial on TV? No, but you'll see it on my YouTube channel. That's right. That's right. All right. Smooth saying Kenny Smith is not a dude I listen to, man. It's weird because he's an old Rockets guy. A lot of his takes I disagree with. Yeah, he's on the down low like one of these haters. Like he's very judgmental and kind of like, and like above a lot of stuff. And in a lot of ways, his opinions are tainted by his own kind of bullshit. You know, in some ways, he's got the same bullshit. Maybe it's because they're both Carolina Tar Heels as Vince Carter. You know, there's some xenophobia, some like downplaying, discounting Toronto and the Raptors and all this kind of stuff. He's got that. He's got that. He's got it probably more than Shaq and Charles. Shaq and Charles give more respect to the Toronto Raptors on that panel. Ernie Johnson's okay. He's fair to us, but Kenny's the hater. Kenny's the hater, and he has been. And that's symbolized by him saying he doesn't think Scotty Barnes is an all-star. You're an idiot, Kenny Smith. You are an idiot, man. Kesper's saying they already want to trade Cat. Laugh out loud. I know. This noise has been there. And, you know, this is similar to the noise around Quickly and RJ and Jakob. This is just the general thing that happens in every fan nation now. Everything that happens in Raptors Nation is happening in all the other NBA nations. Whether it's LaMelo Ball, Victor Wembanyama, there's been actually people in Spurs Nation bringing up Wemby trade rumors over and over again, thinking they don't need him because some people think he's worse for the team when he plays and they're better without him. There's all kinds of crazy malarkey around every team. Now, I think the Cat stuff has more truth to it because the Knicks fans are really crazy about high standards. And if they feel like Cat is holding them back or there is issues, they will go in on him. And this is real energy from them. Some of the stuff with RJ and Emmanuel with us is not totally real. It's manufactured from the outside. But the stuff with Cat and Knicks Nation, that's real stuff coming from the inside. A lot of the stuff with Emmanuel and RJ this season has been manufactured bullshit from other people in the NBA and not from Raptors Nation. Just understand the difference there. Yeah. Milbester's here. Good morning to Milbester. The Knicks freak is here. Did I miss my team beat the Raptors last, Lex? Your team did beat the Raptors last night. And you know what? Kudos to you guys. There you go. That's all I'll say. I could be a good sport in losing and say, good job, good game, you won. All right? If that's what you want, Milbester. I'll just say I would ask in turn for you guys to be good winners on top of that. And Josh Hart was not showing that at the end of the game last night. He was not showing that. Very tacky, Josh Hart. Very tacky. Kesper is saying, for those who say they won the OG trade, I would say they need to win the finals first. Yeah. I mean, what is the ultimate showing of who won that trade? And what is it? Who cares who won what? We got two really good players, and you guys got a very good player in OG. So it's like a lot of people, sane people like me, and a lot of other people say both teams won that trade because I think that's actually what's true. But everybody has to compete because we're taught in society as capitalism that there has to be winners and everything. Oh, I'm against participation trophies. Okay, Donald Trump with your Nobel Peace Prize bullshit. It's like you're against participation trophies, you fragile ego motherfuckers. Well, what if I told you the whole idea of competition is a farce and a mirage in the first place? And it's exemplified in something as tacky as who won this trade? Who cares? They're very different. And it's just a trade that happened. And it's a very good example of showing that, like, sometimes there's not a winner or a loser. It's just that something happened. I mean, some people are so competitive. Oh, we have to have won that trade. And I'm going to sully IQ and RJ and Raptors Nation as much as I can to really hurt the perception of who won the OG trade. Losers. Like, honestly, seriously. I think a lot of Knicks fans and myself and a lot of Raptors fans think that both teams won that trade. And if there needs to be declared somebody like a wrestling ring, pull your hand up like that. It sounds like you're just shallow and insecure, the people that have to try and win that trade. I mean, I can make a lot of cases for why I think the Raptors will win this trade in the end. Maybe right now it seems like OG and the Knicks have won that side of the trade for right now, but we'll see who laughs last in the end. We'll see which team raises the Larry O'Brien first. How about that? We'll see which one of the Knicks or the Raptors are going to win the next championship between the two of our teams. Because I know y'all aren't going to win a championship because y'all get in your own way and you don't deserve it. In some ways, it's karmic. It's like ball don't lie. Knicks Nation don't deserve a championship, just like Leafs Nation don't deserve a Stanley Cup because y'all are cocky shits that are assholes. And your energy that you put out in the world comes back to you in misery and failure. And that's what I say to Leafs Nation and Raptors Nation. I'm sorry, Leafs fans, but it's true. Y'all have been shooting yourselves in the foot, just like Knicks Nation does. And that's the truth right there. That's right. Let's see. Mischief's here. Good to see the base man, Jay. Good to see you, man. Lexathon, 3-hour reaction. You know we're going to do this. Raptors lost the lead in the third, 3 minutes left. Raptors led for 80% of the game until the referees went 8-on-5. After that, against the Raptors, if Yak was back, Raptors would have lost lead in fifth quarter. Jay is like surreal, bro. You're like Dolly, bro. I love this. He's like, they would have lost the lead in the fifth quarter. What is that, overtime? What is this? They would have just won then, right? I love that, Mischief. Mischief, man, you're a longtime Raptor freak. And I just love sometimes the presence of Mischief coming in here. The big man is just such a good dude, man. Meeting him in real life and feeling his energy in real life, he's just a really good dude. You got that Corey Joseph Pickering 6 too now. Mischief with that dunk right there. G saying this, the adjustment should have been on Bridges once he started going off from 3. I completely agree with G on this. Mikal Bridges was the true catalyst. He was going crazy with shooting those shots. He did travel on that one shot though. And the fans called it on him. They said, you traveled. And he's like, I didn't travel. He's like, these guys are so fucking cocky. So cocky. Ball don't lie. And all that energy is going to come and bite you back in the ass, Knickerbockers. And that's the thing you don't realize is y'all's bing bang and all your bullshit that y'all do. That's the stuff that gets in your way. I'm telling you right now, being cocky, little guns, and all this stuff, you guys are going to get it for that. Seriously, that is what's going to stop you. It's the same reason why the Sixers won't win either, because of their losing on purpose bullshit. I'm telling you right now. That's right. They should have adjusted to Mikal. You're exactly right. Exactly right. Kaloy saying this was a bad loss. The first hour, we should have been up by 20. That suffocating defense. This shows the inconsistency in shooting will kill us in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, it's not a good thing to do is to miss a lot of shots. I mean, that's just not a good thing to do. We need to get better with our shots for sure. For sure. Kaloy's saying, but it's all good. Hang on, it's jumping around. I wish this was more stable. Why is this doing that? This team needs to go through the heartbreak in the playoffs. Yeah, there's stages to this. That's why we're not realistic for a championship. What did the Knicks do last year? They got the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to Siakam and got put out by the Pacers. Yeah, they had that failure, that heartbreak. They're going to have it again. But like I said, they're on a path where if it's not a championship, they failed for the year. That's just what it is for the Knicks. It's not the same for us. That's right. But remember last year, Indiana was losing their games in the regular season, and it went apeshit in the playoffs. So anything can happen. Exactly. G's saying something else to consider in playoffs. Healthy teams tend to win. No one knows what the health of teams will be come the playoffs. Exactly. There's so much more to be played. I don't even think, are we halfway through the season right now? We're about halfway. G's saying, yes, Scotty will get there. I meant Ingram and Scotty have different styles, and they will learn from each other. BI may help Scotty want to take over more at times, and Scotty may help BI pass out more. Yeah, I mean, there's already signs that Scotty is taking cues from Brandon with his offensive game in the mid-range. And, I don't know exactly. Brandon's learning more to get his game more well-rounded on the defensive end. And they talked about that last night. Ingram getting a bunch of steals last night. He's gotten blocks recently too. So Brandon's doing more stuff on the other side, the defensive side at this point. All right, Milbester, go easy. But yeah, Lex, I didn't see the game, but I knew they were playing. Why didn't you watch the game? Don't come in here and talk to me about the Knicks if you didn't watch the game. Cold has been brutal on East Coast since the major weekend snowstorm last week. WBC next month, just been waiting for the tournament. See, he's got baseball on his mind. He's not even paying attention to the Knicks. Good to see the Knicks win, but I'm not enjoying that Cat should be traded rumors at all. And Giannis on trade rumor, but what you thought of the game. Glad to see OG played well. What do you thought of the game? I thought that the Knicks won the game, and in some ways it's too bad because I'd like to win the game. How did IQ do and RJ? I haven't seen them play in a while. They were off last night. Emmanuel's had a very good stretch recently, but he was a little off last night, and RJ was off too. So our two guys did not play exceptionally well last night. They did not. Those two guys. Yeah. Let's see. Infamous is saying, historically, NBA teams playing on the second night of back-to-back win approximately 44% of the time. Wow. There you go. He's bringing the stats in. That's interesting. So that's not totally winning percentage, but it's close. It's not that bad. So Infamous, you're going to get a dunk for information and bringing that there. That's the RJ9. You got the 9 now with RJ. Also, he's saying road back-to-backs, the win rate drops to roughly 39%. Home back-to-backs, the win rate is higher, near 56%, though still lower than the average home win rate of 58 to 60%. Okay, that all makes sense. Kareem's saying David on Raptors 905 chat is kind of annoying. He's giving updates of the game we were actually watching. I know when you called him out for that the other day, I was like, go on, KT. I was like, go on, KT. That's a badass right there. I love that. I know he's annoying. And what is he trying to do? Don't come in there and try and talk to us like you know more about the Raptors when you're using Chat GPT. Is what he's putting out there. You don't fucking know more about the Raptors than the Raptor freaks. So don't try and tell us what's going on in the game when we can watch it with our own eyes. Yeah, I got the point where I'm just blocking him because he started adding me more often recently. Like he's teaching me something. I'm like, David, I mean, maybe you should come watch my channel and you'll just see who you're talking to instead of like just thinking like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. Like, seriously, David, I don't need you to tell me like the score like 5 minutes later than it was because you're not up to date with what the score is at that time. And then talking about like, oh no, the Raptors 905 are losing once again, or so all the bullshit he writes in there. It's just annoying. I can go without it. So I blocked it. So I'm not seeing it anymore. I'm not seeing it anymore. Denali's here. Good morning, Denali. I just want to say that this channel is awesome. I've been listening for about 30 minutes, and this dude is a real one. I appreciate that, Denali. I appreciate that, man. I kind of remember you. Were you here before in the past? Because I think I remember your name from being in the chat in the past. Either way, I appreciate the comment. That's very kind of you to say. I humbly do this channel out of the true passion I have for the Raptors. And I feel like the main impetus for why I made the channel is for Raptors Nation to get their shit together and be better as a fan nation. I just hated the cynical toxicness that was very similar to Leaf Nation. And I wanted to make a characteristic and a difference between Leaf fans and Raptors fans and show that we could be non-toxic and supportive and positive. But I appreciate you recognizing that, Denali. And I've been doing this for 4 years and 4.5 years straight. Haven't missed a morning. So you can count on me being here for 9:30 every morning. If you love the Raptors, hey, we don't take off season off. I'm going to be here all summer too, like I have been the last few years. And we're definitely going to go full in on Toronto tempo this summer and covering the games just like we do the Raptors. So get ready for the WNBA and the coverage we're going to do on this channel too. I'm really about it. I appreciate it, man. That's a high compliment, man. G saying my nephew, whom is on the spectrum, feels the need to tell us what's going on while we watch something. It's an impulse, not saying this is it in case just it may be. I get that feeling too. I think you're right. I think that it's weird because it's obvious that he's using Chat GPT that is not written like a normal person would write it, but he denies it. That's the thing that pisses me off. Is like, dude, you're using AI to write your statements. And he's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm like, dude, you are. Don't lie to us. If you were more upfront about that and honest about it, David, I'd have more respect for you, David W. I mean, that could be the case, G. And in some ways, I like that in some ways, man. Denali's saying, I wish there was a Lakers fan like Raptors Freak. You know, we talked about this for like, you know, they should be a network like me. There should be a Knicks Freak. There should be a Lakers Freak. Because in some ways, this kind of action and energy for fan nations can really kind of help clean things up to a degree. Because I think all of us, just like in politics, we're all fatigued. We're sick of this shit, this side versus this side. And in some ways, in the sports world, as fans, we're sick of all the negativity on social media and all the crap. And I just wanted to build a little oasis in the middle of the desert of all that crap where people can just be a fan and root for their team and love their team. And that's all it's about. Because there's so much other stuff people are trying to do now. They're trying to be the GM. They're trying to be the coach. They're trying to be the biggest critic in the world, like they're Siskel and Ebert, and they have 2 thumbs up. You know, this bullshit is like, fucking know your role, jabroni. Just like Dwayne The Rock Johnson says, know your role, jabroni. Just say it. You're a fan and be a fan. And if you're a fan, act like a fan and support your team. Don't be toxic for it. You're going to treat your fan like you treat your girlfriend or your mother or your kids or something like that. Oh, you were so good yesterday, but you suck today. And I hate you. I'm trading you, young Jimmy. You're off the family. Yeah, I'm trading you down the street to the Green family. Yeah, organize it all. You should have got a better report card. Yeah, that's how it is. This is like what I'm saying. I look at the Raptors like they're my family, like they're my brothers, like they're people I care about as human beings. Some people look at NBA players like they're just trading cards or they're just freaking people on video games. They're not actually human beings with breathing and feelings and a life. That's the thing. That's a disconnect on that, man. Denali, maybe it's your calling. Maybe you're the Lakers Freak. You can steal my idea. If you opened up a channel called Lakers Freak and you started doing what I'm doing for the Laker Nation, you may actually help your team win more. You may actually help people be happier in their lives because they've gone so crazy with their toxic fandom. You know what I'm saying? Do it, my guy. Do it. I have no copyright on this. Nobody can replace me because there's only one Lex. But if you wanted to do this for Lakers Nation, you go ahead, man. You have my blessing. That's right. Superfan Mo's in the house. She was at the game last night. In fact, let me go to the Instagram stories before we talk to Mo real quick because she's in the Instagram stories. First of all, we got Serge Ibaka. He's saying this: style is fleeting, attitude is timeless. Serge Ibaka, original man, wearing that denim on denim, that Canadian tuxedo. He's on a plane. Where are you going, Serge? Where in the world is Serge Ibaka going? We need to track him. We'll find out where he is. There's Superfan Mo. As I said, last night was a special night for the Superfan Mo because her lovely sister, an ICU nurse, took her to the game. And before the game, she took Monique to a very lovely dinner before the game next door. Fantastic stuff. I love seeing the sisterly love going to the game. Too bad the result of the game wasn't that great. But Monique, I love seeing your Instagram stories with your sister, being at the game, and smiles and laughs and nice dinner and all that stuff. Kelly Olynyk celebrating a Spurs win over the Rockets last night. We got Grady Dick showing off that ankle breaker that was talked about with Landry Shamet earlier. So Grady's putting a highlight on for Jamal Shed, but he does make a 3 at the end of that too. Let's see what else we got. Raptors. The Raptor is signing his Funko at the game last night. He has a Funko Pop. I have it myself out in the studio, but he had a fan getting that signed. SGA is putting on blast. Who is that? One of his teammates, AJ or something like that. Let's see. What else is on here? Is there anything interesting? Mercedes is putting her boyfriend Sandro on blast in the entryway. Let's see. Gerald is saying Naco the Nacho is at the grocery store, and he's saying that the Scooby-Doo treats should be called Scooby Snacks, but that might be confusing because Scooby Snacks are for dogs, right? Because it's dog food or something like that. Malachi Flynn is still tearing it up over in Turkey, guys. He is just ripping it up. He's breaking all kinds of scoring records over in Turkey. So that Turkey deserved to be in Turkey this whole time. Apparently, it seems like at this point, Malachi is not my favorite Raptors alumni. We all know that. I don't know why I'm still following him on there. Let's see. Is there anything else on here that's interesting? Not really. Oh, Fred's got this word of wisdom this morning. Fred VanVleet, a good heart and a sharp mind make a dangerous combination. I like that. And Kyle Lowry's putting on blast VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey. They're on the new cover of the Slam magazine. But you know what? I was looking at that magazine a little closer, and they got 2 of the Raptors' names on that cover too right now. Brandon and Scotty are articles in the Slam magazine that's out today or just recently with the Sixers on the cover. So they are talking about Brandon and Scotty, and who knows, maybe they're saying both of them are all-stars, just like the Inside the NBA crew was saying that last night. There's your Instagram stories. We love you, Mo, and I'm so happy to see lovely sister time between Mo and her sister yesterday. Good morning. What's happening to the 905? Well, they hit the bottom of the barrel with their talent, and they're still trying to get back to it. Osceola got some good stuff against them the first game, and they carried it into the second game, and they were still successful. Elijah and AJ showed up a little late, and they had a little bit of time getting back on track with the team and playing right with them to help them win. So, yeah, the slide continues. 4 in a row lost by the 905 and Andrew Jones. We'll flip the calendar to February and hope that the fresh start with the new month will give them back on the winning side. That's what we're hoping right there. Denali's saying the Raptors are definitely talented enough to win it all, but are also definitely a team that could lose in the first round. I think we can agree with that on a lot of the elite teams in the NBA. Yeah, I think that in the league of parity that Adam Silver has created with the salary cap rules and the way things are going now, I love it. It's more like the NFL. Because honestly, the NFL, if you think about the playoffs for the NFL, where it's getting to right now, it's like stuff you can't totally predict from the beginning of the season. That was the big problem with the 2010s and the Warriors and the Cavs, is that it got too predictable in the NBA. That was the same finals matchup for like years in a row, and it was stale. So Adam Silver made very important changes to the league to make it more competitive, and it shows in how it's wide open how any team can do. You know, and I like that. I like a league where we've had different champions every year, and I like a league where parity rules because that's good for business. You don't want to have a bunch of dud teams that nobody wants to support or spend money on because it's bad for the health of the league. So every team having a chance, if they're run well and managed right, and they have luck with injuries, can have a chance to do something and get more in winning ways. We're seeing it more evident in some of the lowlier franchises in the Eastern Conference, like the Wizards and the Hornets right now, who are showing signs of finally getting some progress towards building their team in something successful and positive instead of just running their wheels at the bottom of the conference, losing over and over again and collecting high lottery picks. It's a much better league for this. And that's that range that Denali's talking about is true. The Raptors could easily flame out in the first round, or they could even find themselves fucking around and finding out that they could go to the finals in some sort of weird, crazy way because things happen that way. It's interesting. I like that league like that because in the West, Oklahoma City is the champ, but it's very hard to repeat. And I don't think it's likely that the Thunder will win again this year, even though a lot of people were penciling them in and saying they're just such juggernauts. Well, they've been struggling a little bit more recently. And there's so much that goes into winning an NBA championship. There's health and luck. And that has a lot to do with it also. Kaloy's saying this, it's a long road to reach the elite status in the NBA. I don't even think the Knicks are on that tier. It's tough to say. And once again, all of this matters on health and luck. Like I just said, they could get a bad matchup at some point in the earlier rounds and they get fucked up because of it. Like say the Knicks play the Celtics in the second round and Boston beats them. Yeah, that's possible. That's very, very possible. Let's see. Kaloy's saying at least this young Raps team has the defensive side figured out. It's the offense and shooting that needs to be consistent. Yes. Although the defensive effort can lag and disappear all of a sudden at times, like it did at the end of the game last night. But yes, the biggest Achilles heel for the Raptors is shooting and getting their offensive production to be steady. The Knicks were very attacking the paint and they were hitting their threes. So their offense does not stagnate. So in some ways, we have to figure out the ways to get things better. Is it lethal shooter? Is it just the Raptors get different players that are more confident in making their shots? Because I felt like this is who Grady Dick's supposed to be. I thought this is who Jacoby Walter's supposed to be, Jamison Battle. These are supposed to be our sharpshooters. They're supposed to be making the shots. Well, they haven't come through this year. They have not come through here. But is that to say they won't in years to come? It may be a growing pain year for some of our shooters, and maybe some of our dead eyes will be more dead eye next year in some ways, or maybe even by the end of this season. Things can change. Most saying bad second half Raptors versus Knicks. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Denali's saying, I think that is because the American media is biased against the Raptors. It's sad, but I think most of the American media isn't fair to the Canadian teams. Yeah, it's a weird thing because, I get it to a degree because they don't see us as part of y'all's market, which is so weird. It's like, how the fuck can we be in this entity called the NBA and be one of the 30 teams, but y'all disregard us and do not put us on blast or any kind of thing? Like they very begrudgingly give us credit or any kind of exposure. And that in some ways is partly to hurt us because it makes the destination less appealing to players, especially if they're lazy and they want an easy route. Going to the Raptors is the hard route because you're not going to get the accolades easy. You're going to have to go the hard route to get it. You can ask Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. Their paths to get their stuff. You can see it with OG and how it switches from the Knicks from the Raptors and just how easy they push him and they put him in the spotlight on the NBA media across the league. It's very evident from this. I think people can see that partly from the OG trade. But I get it in some ways, and I'm not saying it's fair or right. It's because they think we have a whole country and that we're advertising such a big region of so much more people because it's not just a city. We have the whole population of Canada that they are like, it's unfair. The Raptors have that unfair advantage. So we're going to completely cut them off for exposure in the States. It's a messed up thing. In some ways, it's like one of the most uncomfortable kind of positions you can be in as a sports franchise. And I don't think enough people actually really do recognize this. And as an American down south, recognizing this, I appreciate that. Because some people tell us, no, you're crazy. This stuff is not happening. And I'm like, man, you're gaslighting. This shit is happening. You know it is. But somebody admitting it and saying this, I think that sometimes people in the States like the Raptors because of this. because they are aware of how this is happening. And they're like, that's not fair. And in some ways, they identify with the underdog and the person's getting slighted. And then all of a sudden, it backfires on the NBA, because at every road trip we go on, there's a huge contingency of Raptors fans that are Americans in that city that are coming to our games and rooting for us. It's a really weird, interesting phenomena, and there's a lot of sociology to it. Yeah, Denali's saying, with that said, I'm very happy that the Lakers are 2-0 against the Raptors this year. Some of that is earned, but some of that I did not like. That Lakers game in Toronto where we went to overtime, we should have won that game. The one we played against you guys on this road trip just recently, yeah, it's tough. But once again, I'll say this. The NBA wants us to lose to you. And in some ways, they will try and write the storyline for that to happen. It's just part of it. There's 3 teams that they want us to lose to, and it's the 3 teams that Infamous hates losing to. And it's the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Lakers, the 3 premier, big, established, historic teams of the league. And in some ways, they don't like a 30-year team like the Raptors, an expansion dinosaur team, to beat the long-standing traditional icons as franchises in the league. That's part of it that's going on here. Congratulations. You guys beat us. And I will say this, it's an interesting look with LeBron and Luka on your team, but I don't know how that goes in the playoffs. I'm wondering about that. And I was super impressed with Austin Reeves in the first game we played against you guys. He was annoying as hell, but that game had some funny calls in it. Let's just put it that way. The game in Toronto against the Lakers, we didn't have home court advantage as far as with the refs. Let's just put it that way. Denali's saying, oh gosh, don't get me started with the president. He might use ice to kick the Lakers out of California too. I have to get going, but this Canadian pride is awesome. He seems like a good guy. Appreciate and listen, solidarity with Americans that are fighting for their rights and democracy against the regime that's going on right now. They may try and make a lot of weird rhetoric and confusing stuff to pit Canadians versus Americans and make it seem like we hate each other, but we don't. We're the same nice people and neighbors that you guys have always had. It's just we have a problem with your leadership. And I think that most normal people in the United States, I would say about 90% of them hate Donald Trump. And we're with you guys, and we stand in solidarity with you. I'm not going to let the mainstream media in Canada or the United States turn me against my American cousins. And I don't want my American cousins to turn against us either. And understand and see between the lines that it's not us against you guys. It's us against all of us against fascism. That's what this fight is right now. This is all of us against a fascist politician who's trying to run the United States freedom and democracy into the ground. And I stand with all the people in the streets that are protesting, and all the politicians that have spines that are standing up to this, and all the people that are not cowards, that will not bootlick and cower to this because they fear something like this. Like Nicki Minaj. What a loser. Nicki Minaj is. And as somebody pointed out recently, Nicki Minaj has a family full of child predators and pedophiles, so it makes sense that she support a pedophile president named Donald Trump. Yeah, that's it right there. Denali, all respect, man. And nice to have Laker Nation in the house today. Seriously. Yeah, Kaloy's saying, you're welcome here, Lakers, dude. There you go. See, it's like, that's part of it too, is like, this is sports. This isn't battles and like fights. We can be fine with each other. This is a friendly competition. And in some ways, that is what good sportsmanship is to shake hands and say good game at the end of the game, regardless of who wins. And I think that we've got too tribal around teams in the past in sports. And rivalries are healthy and they're fun. And, we can have fun talking to Knicks and Sixers fans in here, and we get along fine. So, yeah, Lakers fans that like my channel and think it's cool and stuff like that, you're welcome here. As long as, we have a general rule. Please try and respect the Raptors franchise just in general. And don't come in here trolling and talking crazy, because I will kick you out. But if you love basketball, you love the NBA, and you love talking about NBA stuff, this is a great channel to watch. It is very heavily Raptors focused, though. That is for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Please, Bobby, don't get Sabonis. I will sacrifice a goat back home if you don't. Kaloy's going to sacrifice a goat He's like, I could see him going out in the backyard with Santino. He's like, today you will be a man, my son. And he's like only like 3. He's like 2 or 3, right? He's not that old. Santino's like, yeah, what do you want me to do, Dad? He's like, I want you to butcher this goat in the backyard real quick. You will be a man. That's ridiculous, man. Don't do that to Santino. Come on now. Milbester's saying we still got another game with the Raptors. You got 2 more games. We're going to have a best of 5 series with y'all. Y'all are 3-0 against us now. And we're going to play you 2 more times in 2 different months. It's like all the games against the Knicks this year are in different months. We're playing y'all in 5 different months of the season this year. And the extra game was because of the in-season tournament. That normally we'd only play y'all 4 times, but we had to play that extra game in the in-season tournament. Ice has got me on blast. Superfan Mo's got my cutoff. I appreciate that. Despite the outcome, keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Free Crew strong forever. Just helping me limit the comments. Thank you, producer Mo. I appreciate you. Ken A saying Sabonis will not make us better. Keep RJ. Exactly right. We do not need DeMattis. DeMattis is too much overlapping with Scotty, and we're not getting rid of Scotty. So the logic right there just tells you right there is DeMattis would step on the toes of our most important player on our team, and we do not need Sabonis coming in here muddling things when he doesn't fit. When RJ does, and we see the chemistry between RJ and Scotty more and more, that is just a legitimate, tangible, real chemistry between Barrett and Barnes. And Ingram's fitting in fine too. He's fitting in fine too. So DeMattis, I don't think he would fit in. I don't think it makes any sense logically from a basketball perspective of philosophy. That's exactly true. That's right. Seymour's laughing, and he's saying Jaylen Brown knocked a few teeth out of Okongwu's mouth. Yikes. There's been a little bit more fisticuffs lately. And it's interesting because the whole thing that happened that you guys brought up, which I went and watched later, the thing between Jeremiah Fears and Luguetz Dort, you know, the Pelicans broadcast said basically this. It's like Ed Malloy and John Conley, the referee crew, were allowing the players to play very physical without reprimanding or holding it down. And it built to a crescendo of Lou Dort and Jeremiah Fears getting to that point at the end of the game. There were a couple of plays that were dirty earlier in the game where people were getting hit and the referees were just letting them play. And some of that is the NBA is going more FIBA style with allowing a lot more handsy physical stuff underneath the basket. But the announcers of the Pelicans had a good point, is the referees need to kind of corral this kind of energy before players are actually feeling like they want to throw fisticuffs. And maybe they're failing right now. Maybe they need to go to ref school with Monty McKetchin, and Monty needs to tell them, guys, you need to stop the extra physicality that's unnecessary earlier in the game so that there isn't retribution going back and forth, building to a fury by the end of the game. Because this sounds like this is what Jaylen Brown punched Okongwu out and knocked some teeth out. What's going on here? Was that incidental contact or was there malice in his action? Denali saying, I just came back and I'm listening to the interesting takes on the Lakers. What are your thoughts on the Lakers playoff prospects? I worry about you guys because I feel like y'all are star-studded and star-filled. You got these 2 guys. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the biggest LeBron fan. I am a Raptors fan, so that would make sense, right? But you know, I respect LeBron's career as far as his longevity and his place in the game and who he is. But I also realize he's near the end of his career, and I think that in Laker Nation, the biggest thing with you guys is moving away from him. You've got to do it in the next few years, and I think delaying that is setting you back. Like, I really thought you guys might have moved him in the last 2 years, but you didn't, and he stayed in the Lakers jersey. And in some ways, that's nice, but at what detriment for your franchise? That's what I would say. And the other thing is, I hated that Luka trade for you guys. I thought that was like a PR move by the league, and that it was a forced deal. That the Mavericks were crazy to do that, and that y'all should never have Luka on your team. I think that Adam Silver forced that. But I think in some ways, because he did that, it's going to backfire for you guys. I think that some of the things that the Mavericks said about Luka before, about him being lazy and all these other things, some of it is true. And I worry that Luka, and I've described him as this in the past, as a very gifted offensive player, a trick shot guy, A guy who has amazing offensive ability, he does not work on defense. And some of the same problems that James Harden has, Luka has. And that means, like, I'm not going to move my feet on defense. I'm not going to do this and not going to do that. And what matters in the finals, in the playoffs? Yeah. That's why I don't know. You guys could perform really well in the regular season, stay healthy. This season could be a very good season compared to some of the Lakers seasons with LeBron that have been so disappointing in getting in the play-in or not even making the playoffs. That maybe you guys should find success in the fact that you've been a successful regular season team, because I don't think you guys have a chance in the playoffs. I really don't. And it's really because the defensive side becomes much more important in the second season. And if I'm being completely honest, your lead players are not good defensive players. And even if they're that talented and you think you can turn it on, some ways it's just the DNA. LeBron's older. Luka's never really tried on defense. And the outcome of the Mavericks versus the Celtics in the finals was indicative of this. So I say enjoy your regular season. Don't expect much in the playoffs. That's what I would say right there. And that's me being completely fair about this. Yeah. And let's see. Denali's saying this. P.S. I really despise talking about politics and sports, but this administration is really pushing Americans against Canadians, and I don't like that. Yeah, we didn't ask for this. I mean, we've been one of y'all's best allies for so long. And it was very insulting what the president, what a dumbass Trump said. I won't even call him a president because he's not. He's a criminal. What he said about the allies and how we have never helped them or anything like that, that's bullshit, because Canadians and British people and all kinds of different people from the allies died in Afghanistan alongside Americans. And the percentages may not be the same, but we were still there and fighting alongside you. And that's the biggest thing that's pissing people off, especially military people in the States, is that these are people that helped us, that work with us. And, you know, it's even indicative of, like, y'all have Iraqi help, that people helped in Iraq, people that helped in Afghanistan, that were translators, and people that helped the U.S. Army to the detriment of their own family safety. And then they come to the United States in a new life that was granted to them because they helped and they were allies. And now Trump is stabbing them in the back and deporting them and treating them like trash. And these are heroes that actually help the United States in their foreign conflicts. It's just trashy, man. It's just like stab your friend in the back kind of shit. And I don't blame the whole of America. I just blame this really poor leader, this deranged, demented piece of shit. And it's sad because they're going to try and stoke the fires of division. And it's exactly the wrong energy. And the thing is, we have the power as the people. We don't have to buy into the conflict. They can manufacture conflict towards immigrants and trans people and Canadians and all they want. It's up to you guys whether you want to hook, line, sink, or fall for their bullshit. That's really how I look at it. You know, I love you guys. I tell people this all the time. If they're conservative people, and I'm a left-leaning person, obviously, I tell people, I've said this to people in the grocery store one day around the election last year for a prime minister when Mark Carney won. I said to people, I said, I'm a liberal. I'm going to vote for Mark Carney, and I want y'all to know that I love you. And these conservative people in the grocery store looked at me like I was crazy. What the fuck? You don't even know me, is like the looks on their face. Yeah, because this is the energy we need right now. It's not hate your enemy, hate your neighbor. It's love everyone, because that's the true teachings of Christ. That's the true religion of Christianity, is love all. Have a place at your table for everybody. And it's gotten so perverted and mutated and stupid under the hate of MAGA that people are forgetting their connections, as far as, like, the basic reality is we're all human beings and we're all people, and love thy neighbor, love each other. I said, I love you to conservatives at the grocery store. They looked at me like I taken a shit on the floor. And you know what? I figured it out. It's like they probably can't even say they love somebody in their family that they are close to, like their son or their mother. They have a hard time just expressing that. So a stranger comes up to them in the grocery store, a man who's politically opposite to them, just says, I want y'all to know I love you. Because that's the energy we need right now. It's not the divisiveness. It's the idea that, you know, we're all human beings and a lot of us want just the same things. But the powers that be at the top have taken a few crazy subjects and torn us apart over shit that's frivolous, like trans bathrooms and other cockamamie bullshit information about illegal immigrants raping people. That's absolute horse crap. Yeah, there's a lot of that. So yeah, go out with love and tell people that are supposed to be your enemies that you love them. And even if they look at you like you're crazy, know that you're on the right side of Christianity, Jesus Christ, and the creator above. And that's all I can say on that, man. But yeah, man, I appreciate this. And listen, I say this, it's never a safe time to not be political, because you're not being political. Well, people are going to be making decisions and talking about it when you're not talking about it. And in some ways, our voices need to be heard. That's the biggest sham in the world. Shut up and play. Just play your music, Bruce Springsteen. We don't need your political bullshit. Yeah, that's because they have influence and they can change the world, like Jesse Owens, like people that had the balls to go and do that stuff. That's why cynical people that don't want influence like that tell athletes and musicians and actors to shut up and just do what they do and to stop talking politics. It's the same shit with like, oh, you don't talk politics and religion with people around you. It's because the more we talk about it, the more we realize we have in common. And it's not as easy to divide us then. That's a lot of it right now. We just got to stay together. We're humans. We are created by God. None of us are above that. And we need to all remember that. We need to all remember that. Respect to a Laker fan in the United States coming across that peace bridge with us and saying, look, this isn't about our countries. This is about a deranged Alzheimer's patient who just happens to be destroying the White House, literally, and democracy figuratively also. Literally too, I guess. Yeah. Seymour, I'm going to skip your comment and I'm actually going to delete it out of I'm not going to delete it. I don't know how to do that, but I'm just going to skip it because we don't need to do this right now, because honestly, he comes in peace and this isn't the energy that we're doing right now. I'll say the rest of it. F the Heat, F the Celtics, F the Knicks, F the Cavs, F the Magic. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. We'll do that part. And Lakers fan can get in on that too. Kaloy saying, Lex, on special occasions, we love eating fresh goats back home. That's cool. I like that. That makes sense. But I'm telling you, is that a ritual where you say, son, you'll become a man today if you can slit this goat's throat? Crazy, man. No, I get it, man. It's Filipino heritage. I get it, man. That's cool. I would love to come and eat some goat. Kaloy, you want to invite me? I'll come over. I'll eat some goat with you, man. I want to learn more about some of your systems too. Seriously. Nameless is saying, I went to bed after the first and sensed a ref hit job coming. Was I correct in my assessment? Somewhat. I mean, I'm not going to say that the refs determined the game. I'm going to say that the Raptors didn't do well enough, and the Knicks, they took care of business. But I mean, Mark Davis is a piece of shit. And there is the thing that I don't like is when we play the Celtics, the Lakers, and the Knicks at home, we're in Toronto. We're not getting home calls. We're not. And that's the truth. That's one of the things that annoys me. It's like we're the home team, but the referees are giving home calls to the Celtics in our home arena. Yeah, there's a bit of that. Kaloy saying my wife's bro has a lot of running around goats. So you got some goats. You know, you could have a lawn service. Those goats are really good for keeping wild lands cut down. For sure, man. That's right. Nameless is saying we just need Yak to return, and maybe Cat wouldn't have gotten 25 rebounds. That would have helped. Yeah. Nameless is saying I wouldn't have moved LeBron after the chip. I would have moved LeBron after the chip when they won the one in Orlando in the bubble. Yeah, I don't know. They looked into it. I mean, that's the crazy thing with this article that came out with Jeannie Buss. It sounded like she's soured on LeBron a few years ago and was actively trying to get him moved, and it just backfired and it didn't happen. I think part of it is the power of Rich Paul and just the power of LeBron himself. That didn't happen, you know. In some ways, Jeannie Buss may have been the only person in the Lakers trying to move LeBron, and other people were like, no, what are you doing? It's LeBron. You're crazy. You can't do that. That's right. Denali saying, honestly, I'd rather have LeBron be on the roster, even if he sets us back a little bit. I don't want to see him in another uniform. I think that's true. I mean, what if it was a homecoming, though? Like if he went back to Cleveland for a third time? Would that be as big of a deal? Because it's already an established kind of legacy in his life and his career. Or Miami? What if he was back in Miami Heat for a second stint? I think either way, his time's coming soon. And I think that the thing that happened in Cleveland last night was beautiful. You know, I don't know. He was weird though, because he was even saying like, I'm not thinking about retirement trips yet. I'm not trying to come around and say goodbye to everybody. I mean, are you sure? Because in some ways, when you guys came to Toronto last fall, a lot of us were feeling like this may be the last time LeBron plays in Toronto. I don't know. In some ways, he determines that with his body and his will to continue to play. But yeah, either way, we know the clock is ticking on LeBron James and that everybody needs to watch him while they can and honor and appreciate him while we can. I think that's a big part of it right there. Even people that aren't big fans of him, like me, who were terrorized by him in the 2010s. That's right. Yeah. Denali's saying sad hearing about the Orange Man. Yeah, he's crazy, man. Like he's totally got Alzheimer's. His father had Alzheimer's. Fred Trump in his later stages in his life. And there's all the signs in the world that's going on with him. I mean, it's crazy that whole thing that happened in Switzerland with the World Economic Forum. And we had our prime minister get up there and he sounded amazing. He made one of the most important speeches in recent history. And then you have Trump coming up there and he's fumbling his words. He's getting Greenland confused for Iceland. And his ego is so important to him. Like he's so crazy. He's penalizing the Fulton County voting office in Georgia because they said that he lost that part of the election. I'm going to say this right now. I don't truly believe that Donald Trump has won any of these elections, 2016, 2020, or 2024. He thinks 2020 was stolen from him. But no, that was right. And January 6th was a huge crime that should have been snuffed out, and he should have went to jail for that. I believe in 2016 that there's you know, the powers that be in the United States are really corporate oligarchs. In some ways, it's similar to Russia. We got to the point where the corporations have so much money and so much dark money and influencing politics that, you know, Hillary Clinton wasn't the most palatable candidate. A lot of people didn't like her. I didn't vote for her personally, and I sat out that election. I feel bad about it, but I still think she actually beat him. And that the mainstream media and Donald Trump came out and announced he was the winner before 12 o'clock on that night in 2016, that he actually grabbed the election by the pussy. And part of the energy behind that is that the oligarchs and the corporations with the men in charge do not want a woman in charge, that they had to make damn for sure. And it's male chauvinism. It's absolutely fucking misogyny. It's patriarchy. It's all those words that people say are woke words, but they're just true about power structures in the world, that they couldn't have a female president. So any which way they could railroad, whether it's Kamala or Hillary, they were not going to let that happen. And I truly believe in the last election that Elon totally rigged the election with the voting machines, and that the fact that Donald Trump won all the battleground states in 2024 is absolute horse crap. In fact, some of the numbers are so red flaggish as far as the margins and just how slightly he won. And once again, I'll say this, in the modern era of politics, going all the way back to the recount with Gore and Bush, when has a fucking election ever been called by midnight? When? Never. Even with Trump and Biden, that shit went on for days trying to count it. If these elections are close, nothing gets determined before midnight on election day. But what happened both times when he beat Kamala and Hillary? He came out early and they called the election for him before midnight. That's fishy as fuck to me right there, because of all the counting and the ballots, and they don't ratify or get anything official at least until 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. at least. So that's a big red flag to me. I don't think this dude ever actually was legitimately elected president, and that the mainstream media, in collusion with the oligarchical corporate heads of the United States, who are in charge, actually, it's not the politicians. They're just puppets for them. And it's the same system that's going in Russia right now, too. Seriously, the rich oligarchs run Russia. The rich oligarchs run the United States at this point. And if you guys want to get back to for the people, by the people, you're going to have to change your system radically and safeguard it from these kind of things happening again. So yeah, this is how I really feel. I don't think this dude legitimately won ever. And his overimportance of trying to make the 2020 election his win, even though we know he didn't win, it symbolizes just how catty and bullshit he is as far as these elections and doing this stuff. And why wouldn't it, the mainstream media and the powers that be, when they let him be president in 2016, they didn't want to ruffle the feathers. They didn't want the status quo to be made. So they went with the charade and they covered it up. The mainstream media is owned by all the right-wing oligarchs at this point. Jeff Bezos owns Washington Post. We know Rupert Murdoch and his empire for years and years. It's all covered at this point. And that's why the media coverage of the protests and what's happening with ICE right now is not fair and balanced. In fact, it is telling the story that they want you to hear from Trump's view. So be very wary of your own media right now. Nothing they're telling you guys is true at this point on a very heavy scale. Before, there was some integrity in places like 60 Minutes and some of these other news entities. But you could go ask Dan Rather, who's watched this whole thing unfold over his lifetime, and he would tell you just how depressed and sad he is with the state of journalism in the United States. Because this isn't the journalism that Dan Rather of CBS News knew for pretty much his whole entire life. I'll cook right here. I'm not dropping this mic because in some ways this mic is expensive. Yeah. Nameless is saying, and they are not impeaching him over there. They need to invoke the 25th Amendment and say that this guy is not stable to be the leader. And even if it's JD Vance, well, he doesn't have the cult of personality magnetism that Trump has. In some weird ways, he is a cult leader, just like Jim Jones in Jonestown Massacre. He has that same fucking energy. And sadly, there's a bunch of soft-headed idiots that are actually buying it hook, line, and sinker to the point that they buy a Trump phone from China that's charged for so much more, and it's a cheap-ass phone, all kinds of different shit he's doing. It's crazy that they buy into, man. It's crazy. Yeah, Denali's saying this. I never in a million years thought that Americans would discriminate against gays and immigrants when I was a kid. We should be so much better than that. I mean, it's a country found on immigrants. And the even more twisted thing is because ICE is racially profiling people, they're going after the indigenous people, the Native Americans who were here before we even came here. Can you imagine what a slap in the face it is if you're an indigenous person and you've been fighting for your rights and the way that you had the land before people came here and did what they did. And now in the modern age, you have to deal with ICE agents racially profiling you and taking you in and treating you because they think you're an illegal immigrant just because of the color of your skin. This is not America. This is not the way it should be. This is not the way it should be. It's messed up, man. It's so messed up. Kenneth Lau, good morning to you. Thanks for subscribing. Denali saying, I've lost friendships with people that vigorously defend the Orange Man. Not many, but he has radicalized a lot of people in this country, which will hurt America for decades. The hurting is inside and it's outside. I mean, it's going to hurt economically. Like I want to tell Americans right now, if you want to know what your future's like, go look at Russia, because y'all are doing the same things that Vladimir Putin did as with Trump, as far as the way he's going to run the country. And it's taken away like any kind of like media that's free speech. It's jailing your political opponents. It's isolating yourself from the rest of the world economically because you're just going down the tubes as far as your relations and turning your back and stabbing your allies in the back. Canada is pivoting from buying from America more and more every day. And we're pivoting to India, China, Europe, Africa. And we're setting up all these new trade deals that we never did before because we were so symbiotic with the United States and the proximity and the closeness. That's all changing. And this is what Mark Carney's saying right now, is that we're going to build a new era going forward where the United States is not participating. And the only people that's going to hurt is the people in the United States, because business will go down and economics will hurt. And a lot of the things that we've talked about with Russia and the bread lines and the problems with economics in Russia are coming to the United States. And it's on purpose. In some ways, the oligarchs and the powers in the United States, the American oligarchs, want people to die. That's why they're taking away your health care and raising the premiums. That's why they don't care about house prices. And if you're homeless, they'll criminalize homelessness and put you in jail. In some ways, they want to build a surveillance state where they watch you and they take you to jail if you're any kind of dissident or difference of opinion than the standing party that's in charge. That's all Russia's playbook. And Putin used Trump to destroy the United States from within. And it's sad because at some point you guys need to stop this. And you need to understand that, like, look, we don't want to be Russia. And it will take a while for you guys to heal the rifts with countries like ours. But that's a great thing. We're Canadians and we're nice people. And in some ways, we may be willing to work with you guys sooner than the rest of the world, partly because of proximity and partly because of familiarity and the old ties that bind. But as long as that leadership is in charge in your country, we're not. And we're going in the other direction. So until they get booted out and you guys get some real leaders, and I would say this, we need to get rid of the whole political system of two parties. We need to have more leaders like the mayor of New York, who is a person that is doing things and making things happen, and no more infighting. It's not Democrat or Republican. Fuck both those parties because they both suck. We need real leaders that have solutions and not are building division, because that's a lot of what this mirage has been. Is the Republican Party is all about just blocking whatever the Democrats do, and vice versa to a degree also. And we want people that are actually going to go in and do their jobs, talk about having answers to problems and actually instituting them, and not just like fighting with each other. So I see a new world where we don't have political parties anymore. We have individual leaders that make sense and they actually get shit done. And that's the stuff that will start fixing things. But the first thing y'all need to do is get rid of the toxic dump and get that motherfucker out. And you need to prosecute these people like they prosecuted the Nazi Party. And you guys need to take it all the way, because January 6th stuff went so far as the insurrectionists and the people that were absolutely terrorists attacking the Capitol and the Senate, which is crazy. They went to jail, but the leader did not. And all of a sudden, he's in the White House. That's what happened there. So you guys got to be thorough and fix this all the way to the top, or it won't take. And this will continue to happen. In some ways, you need to make an example of this so that people that may try and copycat this playbook in the future will not be successful. Because some people believe, Trump is just the first one. There could be an even worse guy down the road pulling the United States into fascism, and y'all need to safeguard your democracy. We're going into a new era with AI and quantum computing and all kinds of other stuff that's scary, and it's going to change things a lot. And we're going to have to be aware of the people who are in power and how they regulate and use the new technology, because it can be used against us. Do we want to pay our taxes towards a government that's actually subjugating us to home invasions and arrests in the street and shooting us in the face? That's not what our tax money should be going towards, right? But that's what these crazy maniacal people in charge in Washington are doing. They're throwing more money towards ICE for more subjugation and more, bullshit that's going on right now, which is messed up, man. Yeah, there you go. There you go, man. Yeah, it's going to be tough. But you know what? As an old friend and somebody who does want you guys to be friends with us, Canada will be there to try and help pick up the pieces. It's just that we're going to do it in our own safe way at the rate that we'd like to. But I want this to happen too. I want us and Europe and all the other countries in the world to get back in the right place with the United States. Because what he's doing right now is only hurting you guys. The tariffs are not hurting us in Canada. They're not. In fact, our economy's gotten stronger because we're pivoting to buying Canadian more and more. And the United States people are the ones who are actually paying the price for the tariffs. And that is proven by economists. They can directly link that to it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, that's what they do. They other people to make them the enemy because, they want people to feel more important than other people. I don't know why people have such insecurity that they have to be above people and stuff like that. It just really speaks to a shallow, cowardly person. And, they make horror stories about trans people. They make horror stories about illegal immigrants, which the word isn't even like a thing. It should just be immigrants. The whole word illegal in front of it is kind of fucked up, honestly. So, yeah, about a third to a half of the country now hates trans. Yeah, because they think that they're coming to pervert their children. They think that their daughter's going to be in a bathroom and a dirty old man's going to come in dressed like a woman and flash their dick at them or some shit like that. It's so ridiculous and stupid, man. It's so ridiculous and stupid that people There may be like one incident of something and they blow it up and make it seem like it's commonplace. And that is their playbook. The right-wing playbook is fear. They want you to prey on your fears, whether it's white replacement theory or trans or illegals doing this or that. They want to scare people into being on their side. And that's sad. That's cowardly. If you make your political decisions because you're scared of trans people or immigrants, you're a coward and you've fallen for the biggest ruse and bullshit in the world ever in the modern history right now. That's right. Kareem saying, only thing I agree with the Republicans is that I don't think any transgender crossovers should be allowed in opposite bathrooms in sports. You know what I'm going to tell you right now, Kareem? I don't give a shit about your stance on this because this isn't actually an important topic. And in some ways, you bringing this in is fucking loserish. I'm giving you a strike. Who cares what you think about this? Is this really an issue that's that important? No, because they bring it to the forefront and make it a lightning rod. So in some ways, I lost respect for you just bringing this up. Seriously. He's saying this. All this craziness is to distract us. See, that's what you just said is distracting us. All of this craziness is to distract us from the Epstein files. He's doing whatever he can so the world doesn't know he likes raping and killing the youth. Release the Epstein files. Yeah, I love that. There's all kinds of things he's trying to distract from that he's doing because that's what a criminal does. They move fast and they commit crimes over and over again down the street. So the police are investigating the first crime and they're catching up to him. And he's going to the next crime. He's going to the next crime. And trust me, Trump family is a crime family with the money they're stealing from the American public right now. They are totally that. Yeah. Denali's saying, I wish it was so easy. You have to be careful even protesting ICE now. Well, that's why this is tough. And you can be in your own comfort of your own homes and not get involved. But you know what? They're going to come for you eventually. So it's better if we all get out there right away and do this. Some people, I worry about doing this show. Like, they have technology that can sift through all things online and they may hear me talk about Trump. And down the road, are people going to try and come and take me to jail for free speech? I mean, I want to be brave. I don't want to live in that world. And if it gets to that point where I have to go to jail for my own beliefs, then, well, I'll go to jail and I'll be fighting still because I'd rather be standing on my feet than living on my knees as a coward and a bootlicker just because I was afraid that they might do something to me. No, if you want to be on the right side of history, you want to be on the right side of things, you have to be brave and you have to be willing to get in uncomfortable positions where you could be in trouble. Look at Alex Preddy. He lost his life, but he has been a huge help to things, even though he is a martyr. But still, in some ways, the symbolism of him and the truth of who he is very powerful. And in some ways, that's part of the sad thing when things get perverted to a bad, ugly place like it is right now, is that the sacrifices that people may have to make are ultimate sacrifices. And in some ways, this is how it's been through the whole history of time. You juxtaposition that beside the convenience culture of our lives with Uber Eats and all this bullshit. They made us soft. They made us scared to stand up to it. They made us wimpy. So it's up to us whether we want to come back and get our balls back and say, no, fuck this. This isn't right. And I don't give a shit what you might do to me. If I die, I die. Because this is what's right. And I'm not going to cower to you. And I'm not going to stand with that group just because it's safer and easier. Cowards will do that. Especially cowards that have a lot to lose. They will go and do that. But it's not the right thing still. It's not the right thing still. And I would say, look, everybody's got a different position. Everybody has different abilities to help in resisting. And I don't default. Some people are trying to protect themselves for certain reasons. I get it. But don't be on the other side where you're helping the other side and saying, yeah, I stand with this side now. Oh, you fucking coward bootlicker. I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, you're a fucking sad, pathetic human being. You are not a true man because you're scared of getting in trouble with MAGA. Fuck that shit. Fuck MAGA. Fuck ICE. Fuck Trump. And if I get flagged for this and some people come to my house and want to talk to me about it, come and talk to me then. I'll say that shit to your face too. That's what I say. That's the thing, man. We could be like, I don't want to get involved. I'm scared. But what point will you have to? At what point? Because I'm telling you, they're setting the new age. We're moving from an old age of 200, 300 years into a new era of AI and new technologies. And if we are not vigilant about fighting for freedom and humanity, they will run roughshod over us with the new technology and make us a 1984 society where we are all watched and we are all going to prison for frivolous ass shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the lines drawn? Maybe they come for the immigrants now, go for the trans people next. Maybe they come for the leftists next after that. But where's the line drawn? And what point do you get to still think for yourself, or do you have to get in the group think of Donald Trump? That's what I'm saying right here, man. This is heavy shit, and this is important shit, and this is the fight of our lives. And in some ways, every generation gets a different thing they have to deal with. World War II, World War I, Iraq, whatever you want to call it. This is ours. And this one's more important than any of those other ones before. Because what we do now as a people in the United States and the rest of the world will shape the world for hundreds of years to come. And if we fumble the ball right now and we allow certain powers that be to get out of control and take to the world and get their claws in and cinch in to be the new normal, we're fucking over our children, our grandchildren, and all our ancestors after us. Because when we had a chance to fight this shit, we didn't come up and do it. Because it's not going to get easier down the road the more institutionalized and normalized this kind of shit is. You think that ICE, if we don't resist it, is not going to continue to do what they do more and more and just become a really weird national police force for Donald Trump? That's the thing. We got to do this now. We got to nip it in the bud before it takes for too long, because you know what? You may have offspring in the future that will never know certain things that we knew in our lifetime, because that shit has all been closed down and shut away, and they won't know because they live in that dystopia. They live in that world that we didn't stop when we had the chance to. This is heavy shit. And a lot of people won't talk about this in an open, honest way, in a very frank way like me. But this is exactly where we're at in the world today right now. And anybody who thinks I'm overreacting, anybody who thinks I'm being overly dramatic, you're a fool. You're not looking with your eyes open, and you're not understanding exactly how dangerous these times are and how implications for the future are so set in what we do in the next couple of years. This time is now, man. This is it right here, man. This is it right here. I'm telling you, man. It's telling you, yeah. Kareem said this. He wants to have a third term because he knows if he doesn't have the power, he can't keep the files hidden. Man, that motherfucker might even die before this term's over. If he gets a third term, well, that'll just show how broken the American government is, as far as that's not supposed to happen, because FDR happened and they didn't like that and they made the rules. Well, we just changed the rules willy-nilly and the rules don't matter anymore. I mean, if they're going to do certain things, people shouldn't be paying their taxes. No taxation without representation. And if we don't have any decision-making in our government and what they do anymore, why the fuck are we paying taxes? That's what I say at that point. That's very American right there, is what I'm saying right there. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Kaloy saying in Yorkdale, we have a mixed washroom and it's all good, y'all. They have one at the museum also at ROM. When I went to the Royal Ontario Museum, they have a shared washroom. You know, in some ways, this is once again a distraction topic, because a lot of people can get very emotional and charged up about it. And in some ways, it is not important. And Denali's saying this right here. Who cares that bathroom someone uses? I know, seriously. You know, if there's a crime committed, well, let's adjudicate the crime and come get the pervert. But otherwise, it's like most people are just trying to go and do their waste and get the fuck out of there. Come on now. Come on now. And like I said, the whole idea of a trans person wanting to become trans just to be a pervert and goof on people, it's not true. That's not why they do this. That's not their reasoning. Oh, I wanted to become trans just because I wanted to go into women's bathrooms. Some people think that's why they do this. That's not why people become trans, just so they know, right? It's like right there, man. Denali's saying we have a million other bigger problems, but people are demonizing a very small minority group. Yeah, and it's a group that is really not really intersecting with a lot of people's lives in a realistic way in most people's lives. It's a boogeyman. It's a little dumb thread to pull people apart. And in some ways, it's a distraction thing. It's absolutely a distraction thing. I mean, I probably agree with most people on some of their trans issues. but I'm not like making it such a big deal that I need to broadcast it or talk about it. In some ways, the more important issue with trans is the subjugation of how they're being like violently attacked, or like the way they're treated in society. That's a much bigger issue than what they're doing to us. It's what people are doing to them is much more of an issue, but they won't tell you that. They won't talk about it from their perspective. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Kaloy saying people go nuts with this bathroom. Yeah, no, I don't. Why did Kareem even bring this shit up? This is a distraction topic, and I wish you guys didn't keep it going, honestly. People go nuts with the bathroom issue. We have more issues to think about as our species. We have everything to solve all of our problems, but no fucking culture wars distracting us. That's the thing, man. We could have Star Trek. We could have the Jetsons. We could have a world that is so much more interesting and developed if we had leadership that was more like Japan, or leadership more like Scandinavia. But no, we have people that care about making a bunch of profits in the system that is not sustainable, and that it subjugates people and makes people think that if you're poor, you're a loser and you're a victim and you deserve it. No, the system is rigged and it's fucked up. And in some ways, that's part of the problem right there. That is the problem right there. It's it right there. Denali saying, and by the way, I've never had a female to male or male to female ever be disrespectful to me or anyone I know. Normally, like, and this is true too with black people too. Like, I'm not black. I can't relate to being a black person, but I know that black people are overly doing stuff in society to not have certain stereotypes put on them, or to like not perpetuate certain like things like that. And this is true with trans people too. Like, they see all this kind of stuff, right? Right. All right, let's see. I got a warning. It says it's not responsive. I'm sure it's fine. We'll finish up. We're very, very close to being done here. So let me just finish up. Let's see. Denali saying, I have a Make America Great crowd used slur more though. Let's see. Okay, it is.